Hello, everybody, and welcome
Hello.
to the Chicago Cross-Collegiate Mixer. It's me, Tangerine, here. I'm joined here today with my fellow co-caster, the Silent Juan.
Hello,
Juan,
everyone.
how are you doing today?
I am doing very, very well, these teams look great. We were watching the group stages earlier. Absolutely fantastic. Nail biting at some points, and I'm really excited for these playoffs.
Yeah, some of these matches that we've been watching, like on the sidelines, it's been our little sneak peek treat that y'all didn't get to see. Some of these matches have been absolutely like bumper to bumper insane. Like it's
Yeah.
been to the wire on so many of them. Uh Shout out as well to the people who helped balance the team, most notably as well. Our observer
Yes.
right now, Maze Mel, on the scene, who's also our producer for this lovely cast.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. Uh, so let's see. We introduce the map pool, I guess. So the first map for our first game of playoffs will be Ilios. Then we'll transition into a hybrid escort and a push, and then lastly it'll be a tiebreaker, whatever map it will be. So I think are the players
Hopefully we get to
ready?
go there. Honestly,
Yeah.
based on some of the things that we've been seeing from some of these maps coming up, has been actually insane. Uh, Most notably coming out from a lot of the top tier players that are coming out on these teams, kind of dispersed intermittently throughout them. And we could talk about a couple of these players that are coming in. Are there any players that you want to
Yeah.
highlight going into this
So
match?
first up, it's Bap in the Hat versus Boom Squared, right? So so right now, yeah, these two teams absolutely great. It really when they played against each other, it was actually so intense. We have both teams have such great support lines, honestly. Safin and Lorenzo, who's currently out on the substitute right now, but both of them are incredibly strong support players in their own right. Always top 500. A little fun fact is that Lorenzo is the ex rank 1 Lucio for EU, and actually earlier today he was playing for Team Austria for the Overwatch League World Cup. Um, yeah, and I'm seeing Safin talk about what I look like, and it's uncalled for.
It's actually
So
wild though. They're literally just like coming off of the bench from the Austrian tryouts for the World Cup to come participate in this tournament.
yeah, playing on 110 ping actually at 6 o'clock in the morning. He told me,
What?
because that's how time zones work. So he's been up since 6 o'clock playing Overwatch. He's gonna spend another 4 hours playing Overwatch. So it's gonna be a great weekend for him.
It's just another day in the life for
Just a
a
day of
top
life.
500 player, I feel like, at that rate. If we're going to keep talking about some of the players on these teams, Bap in the Hat, as you said, Safin, an incredible player. I would say the quote unquote backbone of DPU being the support player, but that's not really how Safin plays, is it? Safin is a
No.
backline Moira player. For the most part of it, ranking in at about I think it's in the 60s right now in the top 500 range. So not quite to the same level as the number one Lucio trying out for, the World Cup, but definitely still in there and is going to make a scene
Yeah,
out
but
there
what
on the
better way to
battlefield.
support your team than killing the entire enemy backline? So it looks like all the players are almost ready to begin their first map. Um, and yeah, so what do you
Yeah.
expect? What are you expecting today for comp wise? We saw a lot of different comps during the
Yep,
group
they
stages,
were
but
kind of going crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Something that is going to be interesting to see is that Bap and the Hat have two tank players that they're kind of swapping in and out. Nyx is a tank player. Obscure is not a tank player. However, is still playing the role of tank and has been doing insanely well as far as we've been seeing,
yes,
unexpectedly. We're going to be heading into Elios here for
yes,
our first map coming up. We're actually going to be starting out on Well. And primarily when we've been seeing Nick sub in for Obscure, it's primarily to play some of those different the main tanky heroes for the most part. It seems like Obscure's been pretty comfortable on Orisa, but besides that, seems to prefer things like the Sigma other than that, and Nyx kind of fills in those gaps.
Yeah.
We are getting a pause right now on
Just a
in the
quick
match, so it
restart.
might just take a little bit longer to get into the map. However, we are starting right back up within it, so
Yeah.
we'll be in shortly.
And honestly, it's a little surprising that they don't play Boom Square doesn't play their Lucio player for Ilya specifically. You know, 2 of the 3 maps have large potential for environmental kills, so they might have something up their sleeve that we don't know about yet, something we haven't seen in their group stages. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
that would
agree.
be the
Yeah, Nyx is a very strong main tank player. Doesn't play that many off tanks, so we might see a lot of Orisa, might see a lot of Monkey coming out. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe the honorable Rhine duel between Nyx and Zafe if they agree to it.
Oh, I hope so. Honestly, I really want to see the Zafe Rhine. There's a lot of history that comes out with the Zafe main tank as well. Zafe was a support player for the longest time because DPU kind of forced him to be a support player. Originally, actually a tank player, playing for DPU on Academy Red about 2 years ago. So now, Zafe is flexing it back out again and has been showing some pretty dominant displays in the tournament, but might struggle a bit as there's a mirror pharmacy on the scene.
Yeah. Honestly, pretty... Oh, first pick coming out. Zafe dies to the matchup. And, you know, that gives us so much space to play around this well. And they're pretty far up this, you know, the halfway point of this well. And, you know, the entire team is falling. And, yeah, it looks like it's a pretty easy first fight win for Bap in the Hat.
That was a little bit of a sad display to see Soya just trying to stall the point out as long as physically possible, pushing in right now. Bap in the Hat, trying to get some more ult charge. Who do you think this nano target's gonna be?
Honestly, you know, if they feel like the Far could get it, the Orisa is not probably the default target in any situation, but you know, depends on, you know, what they're looking for. They can honestly nano the Pharah, get a rocket barrage pretty quickly and play off the momentum.
Definitely potential for that. Carbitus is getting punished in the back though from a split play. If you don't have the resources to be able to get out and disengage, or have the resources with you, that seems like a little bit ambitious on the part of Carbitus, but you know.
DPS coming out huge for Bap in the Hat here. Both DPS getting 2 apiece. I think Milo actually got 3 there, but you know, lots of, I guess, good performances coming out so far. Let's see where these ultimates. So the first ultimate fight coming now, 60%. No, this is a little scary for Boom Squared. You know, they can't really, they can't get the momentum here to like win this fight. Then they're going to. Oh, that is that is not good. If you're a Mercy player.
Yeah, that's a tragedy to see. Ratwitch just falling up on the top. A great Bastion coming out from Megabriolu, and that's only one ultimate that they had to use. And the Pharah is down as well. Their Mercy can't go in to do
80% and counting. Only one ult used by Bap in the Hat too. So it's gonna be 4 ults versus 5 ults for this last fight.
This is gonna be a circus.
Basically last fight. Oh yeah, it's Q Simulator here right now. Let's see. Can't wait for both Orisas to stand in the other team and get nothing.
Comes out. Pharah ult also comes out. Milo finds the pick with the barrage. Zafe trying to turn things around. There were so many players on the side of Boom Squares who didn't use anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you cannot let that happen if you are Boom Squared. 3 ults
like that
remaining for Boom Squared.
One trick, dropping the Pharah diff in chat. An unfortunate sight to see. If you are the Mercy player, you know that kind of holds an extra weight. You want your Pharah to dominate the lobby. got to get into the heads of the other player. After all, we should explain to the stream, I guess, a little bit more about how this tournament's going to go down. Because as soon as this map is up, if you lose, your only chance at going any further is getting third place. This is a single elimination tournament, and after this, there's no losers finals. It's simply a third place matchup. So the winner of this is going on to the grand finals and has a chance at winning this tournament.
Very high stakes for this one map. You know, a lot of momentum here. You know, the mental game too. Like, if you get Pharah diff map 1, you know, how do you live that down in map 2?
Yeah, true.
Looks like the most balanced character in Overwatch makes an appearance. And
that was nasty.
I had another hook coming out. Oh yeah.
I mean, how do you deal with this? The most oppressive hero in the entire world is just sitting there on the opposing team, hooking the entirety of your DPS line. Nothing lives through that.
It's honestly very surprising that the Pharah was the first target to get hooked there. The only one that can realistically deal with the Roadhog, you know, very early on, especially on this map too. It's quite unfortunate, but let's see.
You would think too that the Roadhog would have a hard time going up against the comp right now of Bap and Hat, but Zafe is just farming everybody. What is this?
Yes, Zafe has decided to counter the Pharah Mercy with his own hands. And honestly, doing a great job with it too. Yeah, almost up to us that whole hog.
Zappa's trying to get some value in from this Ana right now to see the nades come in, but Alphabet is just on top of it with all of the Suzus. Nyx had basically no area to be able to push in ever because of the spam damage coming out. Where is this team going to route from Bap and the Hat?
Looks like they're trying to make their way around coast, but a barrage coming in. Oh, and the barrage is not able to be put out as the quick picks onto Milo and Nyx. That spells the fight.
Yeah, this comp is ultimately looking so much better here for Boom Squared when Zafe has the ability to just be able to self-sustain and take these off angles, take matters into his own hands. This team looks really solid.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to have our ultimate fight here. Barrage Nano coming out from the side of Bap and the Hat. Let's see with the response. Tsune Rush. Barrage finds 1. The Trackbiter finds 2. This is massive. And this should be a fight win for Boom Squared. Oh, sorry,
the double
Bap and the Hat.
DPS bolts coming out for Bap and the Hat there definitely kind of sealed the deal on that fight. Something to keep an eye out here for, though. Both of the supports actually managed to keep their ultimates mirrored on the opposing teams. Well, not exactly mirrored. You do have that Nano Boost, which is going to be a big offensive boon for the side of Boom Squared, and then you have the Mercy ultimate on the side of Bap and the Hat. Maybe get yourself sustained through that Nano, but the burst damage comes through from Boom Squared quick enough. They could see this fight dealt with really quick and easily capped.
Yeah, I wonder who this Nano is going to go on to. I feel like the only a valid target is the Roadhog.
Yeah.
At least in this pretty neutral fight. Not really a lot of things you can do. Oh, that's a pick onto Milo. That's not good. It does get rezzed.
Coming through, Suzu trying to cleanse up some of the players on the side of Boom Squared, but the cleansing is not realistically going to do enough if Milo can just keep finding these picks randomly in and out. I mean, Boom Squared just has to decide if they want to try and actually take this fight or not, because even right now, Zafe is taking so much damage, forces the Nano.
It looks like the Nano goes onto the Roadhog here. Let's see if he can find anything with this. Looks like they get 1 on the Torbjorn, but not much right now. Looks like Orisa is just pile driving into the enemy team. Almost finds and there he goes right there. Yeah, Nyx, unfortunately, the cost of his own life. Well, let's see how Bap and the Hat can stabilize here, because it is still a fighting chance for them.
Definitely, with this barrage in tow, Milo going over the top. This could be a little bit sneaky. Oh, but the flip actually came in. I don't know who ended up triggering overtime.
Save your javelin.
That was a nasty shot. Canceled Zafe right out of that. Nyx also gets the boop off onto Rat Witch. It completely negates this Kiriko ult as well. That could have been really useful.
Rush there too. They're gonna wish they had that for this last fight. Looks like this elusive Kiriko is gonna be able to touch with the side of Boom Squared, but who else can follow up? Looks like the Reaper's coming in. The falls just as quickly. Tack Visor trying to make a mark, but oh, it finds two. Oh, this is close. The ball is finding lots of disruption potential, and the Mercy as well. It's just a presence on the point, and the Moira coming back. There's a fighting chance here. There is a very strong chance they can win this. And the reinforcements coming back to the sides of Boom Squared. The cleanse coming out. Yeah.
Attempting to seal the deal on this fight right now is Bap with the hat, but Ratwitch trying to turn it around. Ratwitch unfortunately gets taken out with the
cannot let that happen. And the minefield comes out.
Minefield came out. Zafe trying to swing through right now. Pile drive, 3 picks. Alphabet finds the headshots that are necessary. And then the 99-99 flip, 1-1.
Oh, that was very close.
Insane.
Yeah. It was looking very scary for the side of Boom Squared, but they managed to be able to, cycle through touches at a very, very efficient rate. And they were able to, get the key ultimates, the minefield, the Tack Visor coming in, getting 2 picks. That was really, really important. That definitely helped them secure that last fight.
I think it absolutely did. And now, what do we think that we're going to be seeing coming out from Bap in the Hat to maybe try and make some changes here? To be fair, it wasn't necessarily a stomp burnout in the direction of Boom Squared, but they could possibly be looking for swaps right now, and it could be in the form of this Sojourn from Mega Riolu, actually.
Sojourn Mercy.
Classic.
I love seeing Sojourn Mercy in comp games.
This is the Scrim special.
The Scrim special. Oh goodness. Looks like, the Sojourn is not the answer as he gets picked immediately. This Roadhog is too oppressive.
It's honestly exactly what you need to do if you're the Hog in the situation here of Boom Square. Zafe is honestly would be just under way too much pressure as a Hog player underneath that Sojourn fire. Beelining for the Sojourn in this moment to take down the main source of DPS against you, especially if you get antied, is going to be huge for them. Mega Riolu really has to keep their distance from this Roadhog.
Yeah. It looks like the FAR is no longer in play, and we're changing over to the Soldier 76, perhaps to deal with this Echo. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a real answer to the real problem, which is the Roadhog. You see the Roadhog literally standing inside the middle of the enemy team, and it's still more than half health.
The whole Hog just booping people off the edge. It's a nice sleep to come out from Saf and potentially try and swing this fight the other direction, but Charybdis comes out with the 3K in the middle of that fight. It's a really, really oppressive hold that they have going on right now for the side of Boom Squared. Zafe using those ultimates so early that there's no realistic way Bap in the Hat could come into that fight with anything good to turn it around.
Yeah. Looks like they're almost every ult up on the side of Bap in the Hat. Let's see how they initialize this. Looks like the Nano Rissa coming up with the Terror Surge available at any point. Pulls Charybdis back into the Terror Surge.
That was such a sad sight to see. Nyx putting on a show right now. Propeller almost takes Zafe off the map, but their life will be taken with it first before that can even be done. Alphabet trying to teleport forward to keep more of the members of Boom Squared up and ready.
Gets cancelled.
That is such a huge cancellation as Alphabet going to try and swing this back into their favor. The Kitsune Rush comes out. Nyx barely holding on for dear life, won't quite make it through, and the rest gets stopped.
Wait, they win this fight. Boom Squared wins this fight. They lose 2 at the beginning, but the Roadhog doesn't die in the middle of it at all. In the middle of that too, the Echo used her duplicate, copied the Terror Surge. Didn't find anything, but it's still a presence. It's still an Echo in your backline. It's still shooting at you.
not what you want to see, but Megariolu is shooting back all of the sudden. This is starting to turn it. Like, this is a seesaw of a fight right now on. We have it just swinging back and forth in so many different directions, and this was starting to look like deja vu from the first map that we just, the first round that we just, second round that we saw come out from this team. Swinging back in, Bap in the hat. Are they going to bring it to 99 again?
It looks like Nyx's answer to this Roadhog is his trusty Reinhardt, where he almost actually has a shatter at this point.
Wow.
Just a few more swings. It looks like they're transitioning to a full brawl comp with the Reinhardt. Maybe just trying to mitigate some of this damage. You know, if Reinhardt gets hooked, he won't die, but let's see if this actually does anything. Nyx almost at the shatter. We'll see if this is going to be huge. There's no shield or any kind of CC immunity to block this. Alpha's gonna have a very tough reaction to make here.
Carib is trying to pop out the ultimate. Sapin's going to pop the Kiriko Rush in response, and Megariolu gets 2 picks off of the back of it. The amplified damage that comes out from that ultimate is simply too much to bear for the side of Boom Squared. And, you know, I talked about Deja Vu one. It could potentially be coming back, and it's starting with this oppressive Reinhardt pick from Nyx.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to get to last fight territory very, very quickly. It looks like they don't want to really take a fight here right now, but if they say that, the Reinhardt gets duplicated.
Oh, the cleanse comes through, but the knock off the map does not quite end up registering. Soy's going to be kicking themselves for that as Megariolu with the overclock finds 2. That is so important as there's only 85% left, 15%, and this map is over. This was around the time that Boom Squared was able to bring it back and bring this map into their favor. Can they do it again? Are they even going to get anyone to touch?
It looks like they're doing their best right now, but no. The attack visor finding Carapatus, and no, they're up 2 right now. This might be a Bap in the hat victory here.
Swinging back in is Bap in the hat, but Boom Squared still have something to stand on. Zay finding that pick onto Megariolu. It seems like the picks could potentially just be way too much, though, in the favor of Bap in the hat. They're swinging back into this fight like never before, and Nyx has that shatter just in case the nail needs to be put in the coffin as Bap in the hat take this first map with a close scoreline.
Yeah, honestly, very, very scary for Bap in the hat. They almost couldn't react to the Roadhog play, but a quick reaction from Nyx to switch to that Reinhardt. Honestly, you don't really think of Reinhardt as a Roadhog counter, but that shatter at these key moments really does, you know, put a stop to anything that the Roadhog team wants to do. So very well done.
It's just so built around having your hog continuously go out and soak up as much poke damage as physically possible. And if your Roadhog suddenly gets bursted down out of nowhere, there's a complete inability to be able to take that poke damage. And Nyx understood, hey, this hog can't do anything if we just oppressively push out these angles where the hog's supposed to soak up this damage. The hog can't step forward and try to take that damage. This hog's not going to do anything. And the big shield also helps the hooks as well.
It definitely does. We see that shield actually gives Megariolu so much space to work on that Sojourn. You see, once the Reinhardt came into play, he was getting 2 kills every single overclock. You know, just being able to zone, get zoned off, the Roadhog being zoned off from the Sojourn by that shield really does allow your DPS so much more space to work with. And we see that DPS actually do get a lot more activated once that Reinhardt switch comes through.
Yeah, that's really, really true. The DPS really was activated there for Bap in the hat. I honestly feel like it took a little bit for the DPS of Bap in the hat to start to get back into the swing of things, but as soon as they had that Reinhardt shield constantly behind them, providing that extra pressure that they needed to be more aggressive and be more outward facing, the DPS really started to step up, like you said. Now, for the side of Boom Squared, there was a lot of brilliance that was coming out from their support line, most notably in Alphabet. putting on an absolute show on the Kiriko at times, consistently cleaning up those purples onto Zafe and attempting to get their tank line in as much as possible, but it just couldn't quite convert through.
Yeah, having to invest your Suzu to clear one anti-nade at a max health target, it doesn't really sure it saves you from any further damage, but you need it in that crucial moments where the Sojourn gets that headshot, and when you're at 1 HP and you need to have that time, that split second of time to heal them back up to full HP. So, well, we'll see how they change for this next map, but it looks like we got some switches coming in on the side of Boom Square. We got Lorenzo coming in. And it looks like they're going to want to play a very brawly or fast-paced comp here. Still don't know what map they're wanting to go in, though. Looks like we got Obscure for the tank for Bap in the Hat. And yeah, it looks like... Oh, what do you... So
these are interesting swaps, aren't they?
Yeah.
The Obscure swap that's coming in here is particularly interesting because it seems almost as if these teams want to go into two different directions, if what you're saying is true with the rush from Boom Squared with Lorenzo or Lore coming in. If Lore is playing this Lucio and they're attempting to go for a speedy rush comp, I'm not sure if Obscure is really going to want to match that. I mean, we've seen Obscure on Orisa. Obscure can hold themselves on the Orisa, no problem whatsoever. But as I recall correctly, I think it was Nyx who prefers to play the main tank here. We could potentially see a Sigma come out from Obscure.
Yeah. Well, I think Midtown, actually, which is the map we're going into next, we can see Safin play those really ratty Kiriko angles, or Moira angles. And
that is true.
I'm very curious to see, at least the DPS composition, because they have to complement the tank line. Especially for a map like this, you have really two choices. You could either take the train control and set up a very strong poking position on the other side of the train, or you could try to rush underneath or around one of the sides to get to point fast. So those are the two main philosophies for Midtown, at least for this map. Once you transition to that second phase, though, it does feel like a Gibraltar in the sense where you do have to get that high ground control. And what better way to do that than to, rush that high ground really fast?
True, that high ground is incredibly important. I have to ask you a question here, Juan.
Yes.
On this first point defense of Midtown, how do you prefer that the teams decide to actively hold this point? I've seen a lot of teams decide to stack into train, which I have my own personally negative opinions on. I've seen a lot of people decide to hold towards mid or keep some on the stairway. Some have held actually back by the fire truck. What do you think is the most effective way to hold?
I honestly do think it depends on your composition. As I said, that the two main philosophies for attacking is set up on the train for the poke, or to rush down through mid. It looks like rushing down through mid is the choice here, and it looks like, like fast picks coming out.
Negating a good amount of damage that was coming out against the side of Vap in the Hat. Boom Square going to be forced to back out of that one. That was an incredibly well-timed Suzu that came out there from Safin. Actually understood that Zafe was going in far too aggressive there on that push. Yeah. And couldn't actually get anything done once all the cooldowns were out.
I do think Zafe did overextend a little bit, trying to javelin spin the entire team into that stairway corner. And I think that just it opened up too much of the space behind his team, and they ended up getting picked. But yeah, it looks like they're trying to make their way onto the point right now. Well-timed Suzu coming out, saving Milo from death.
Attempting to break back into this point. It's a nice headshot from Charybdis to come out on this attack. Could potentially break some things open. The Dragon Strike is available as well. Could potentially go over the entirety of this point. There's a lot of people that are grouped up on point right now from the side of Bap in the Hat! And Charybdis with the 3K in this fight so far. All headshots to one.
Yeah. Looks like we can't see the game on the stream right now, actually, according to chat. But yeah, like we're transitioning to point two, and that high ground is going to really be important here. And with Gibraltar out of the map pool, we have to go back to our roots and really remember that high ground is very, very important, especially for payload maps, because you come out the other end and you are in a firing range. So
Absolutely,
you need to be able to control the angles in order to safely get your cart underneath and out the other end. But it looks like Bap in the Hat with 2 quick ultimates able to secure this fight.
Leading up right now is Bap in the Hat. 3 ultimates to their name coming into this next fight. Just about the same, though, coming out on the side of Boom Squared. I feel like this beat from Lore is going to be incredibly crucial to the success of Boom Squared in this next fight, especially if they want to take this tempo and get this high ground away from Bap in the Hat. This beat is going to be so crucial, and deciding whether or not they want to use it aggressively or defensively is going to be a tough call.
And we're currently watching Safin, best backline support character. Actually, that does so much. It frees up 2 members. It distracts 2 members of Boom Squared, and Obscure can come in with the Terra Surge and clean up the fight. Very, very well done by Safin.
It was a nice ultimate, too, that came out there from one trick to give just a little bit of the extra damage to come out from the side of Obscure that they needed. Safin was trolling just a tad bit, I'm not gonna lie.
And,
I could hear the comms in that moment come out right there. Very intriguing play from the top 500 player on DPU. One trick will get the nade in the middle of that fight, though. There's a potential they could still salvage this fight.
A little difficult. You don't have your Orisa, and because of that, you're just going to get stomped over by the enemy Orisa. Obscure. Oh, very good, nice headshot.
Charybdis with a nasty shot onto one trick. Obscure's going to see if they can continue to hold up, though. This is some good aggression from Bap in the Hat. Just realizing that since they have their Orisa, Boom Square does not in this moment. The tank diff pretty much just carries you in.
Yeah, but it looks like without the Ana in play, a little more progress is made. The Dragon Strike comes out along with the beats. This allows them the full and sustain in order to push through out the other end. As I said, you really need to. The difficult part of this map is getting that payload through the other end, and they're able to penetrate through with the help of those 2 ultimates.
Good cooldown cycling coming in from the tank of Boom Squared. As I say that, Zafe decides to go on a little trip. Yeah, don't listen to the words that are actually coming out of my mouth right now. Every single time I try to say a good thing about Zafe, something always ends up proving me wrong. I'm just kidding, I love you, Zafe. Our DPU support player coming out there, and current president representing the team, also has the only ultimate on the side of Boom Squared, which is their realistic only potential to win a very crucial fight on this choke point.
Yeah. The Rush 2 might be able to get them around this corner. The enemy Rush, however, does push them back a bit. It looks like they're waiting for it to end. Oh, the Terror Surge comes out. Gets no one. Now they're free to respond with their own ults.
Yeah, this is really good, actually. The ults have been baited out effectively here for Boom Squared, and now it pulls everybody in. That Orisa ult was so crucial.
That's a perfect Suzu
though.
At the absolutely last possible second. Saves 4 members of Bap in the Hat from death in the Terror Surge. Very well done by Safin.
Quite a gorgeous play coming in from the support player. But take a look at these ults now on the side of Boom Squared. This is a stack of ultimates that is coming out from this team. 4 ultimates just to be able to retake pretty much 1.5 fights, essentially, potentially 2.
There's a Cassidy switch too with the high noon. Oh, the high noon gets cancelled immediately!
Oh my god, the javelin from the gods. Charybdis trying to get into the backline here, potentially to throw a dragon and save this fight. Can't find any picks with the Storm Arrow, but is still set up on the off angle with the dragon. And Bap and the Hat are forced to back up here. Charybdis will fall though.
It looks like Soy with a pick of his own, able to keep his team in the fight here. So we'll see what more they want to invest. The Terror Switch coming back out. Finds no one, but Mega Riolu to pick on the enemy Cassidy. And 1 minute left in this last round.
You know, sometimes it's just what you need from your result. If you just to pull in those players and get them as close as possible as you can for your DPS to actually just rain hellfire from above on them, it works perfectly. And now Mega Riolu has this opportunity with this overclock to be able to do even more damage than ever before, but they have to get past this onslaught of 3 ultimates. Well, that being said, Bap in the Hat has 4 as well. This could just be an absolute Q circus.
Yeah, it looks like 30 seconds left in this last round. Oh, that is such an important eat.
No more dragon on the field right now for the side of Boom
The
Square.
number one
Lucio
player showing why he is number 1.
trying to swing back into this fight right now. Boom squared. Suzu is out for them. Anti lands after it. Zafe is underneath so much pressure right now because of it. Unfortunately, Die Laughing had to put their Suzu out early, but Charybdis could potentially swing this back into their favor, trying to carry so many fights within this series so far. Can they do it again? They still haven't fallen, and they get another pick. Another pick.
The Terror Surge was not used by. Oh, they might just want to save this for this very last fight. But let's see, the switch onto the ball. It might work. You know, we need that like last momentary destruction from the ball. It might be able to negate some of the ultimate presence coming out from this enemy team here. Oh, finds 2 picks immediately.
I mean, that's insane. Both of the supports as well. Obscure can only do so much. Obscure can only do so much in this fight right now. 14 HP, has to be forced to back up around the corner. Gets booped off. There was no realistic way that anything could happen there. As soon as that dive came in and took out both the supports, it's over.
Yeah. And honestly, that was a very nail-biting round. Going to overtime on that last one, it's very, very scary. But you know, honestly, the ball really worked in their favors. Getting that one pick, the Ana, that was the game changer right there. So we're transitioning. We're switching sides now. I'm interested to see. So Bap in the Hat opted for a more, defense-oriented, very controlled base composition where they had the Ana and the Kiriko, but now it looks like they want to go for the Lucio as well. Which side's pulling up the Lucio?
Going something a lot more aggressive than what they were running. Actually, no. As soon as we say that, we got a little bit baited there, Juan. That happens way too many times. And actually, in fact, even doubling down on the fact that they're going to play incredibly defensive, they're going the Pharmacy now.
Pharmacy with the Tracer. Oh, at the Hanzo.
I don't mind this comp, actually. You know, I was intrigued to see the stylistic differences that would come out between the 2 tanks in Bap and the Hat, especially if they're both just going to be playing Orisa. But it seems like Obscure likes to be playing that passive play style a fair bit more than Nyx, who is just charging into the back line of Boom Squared at all times, it seems.
Honestly, this was a very unintentional counter matchup. The Pharmacy does counter this Junkrat and the Hanzo, and immediately Soy gets picked. It looks like just slowly advance up here.
Advancing forward, Bap in the Hat. A lost player is really gonna hurt Boom Squared in this case. Are they gonna try and back up and come back in for this one?
We'll see. If they bleed too much, then they might not be able to make it back here. Ooh. Yeah, might just be a get that high ground set up. Especially if Soy dies here, then there's no way they can come back here.
Well, the good news is that Zafe really didn't get too much ult charge in that fight. Still at 30%, just a little bit above. So really not going to be losing too much ult charge. And now they're on a better comp, actually a much better comp, up against this pharmacy comp against Bap in the Hat. Zafe is an incredibly aggressive Winston player. And with lore on the Lucio, this is going to be like a suffocating dive.
Yeah, we'll see that Safin is really feeling it right now. He immediately gets killed. And what do you do if your main support dies immediately? Then there's just a pharmacy up in the air, but realistically though, even though the dive comp is much better for their backline, who kills the pharmacy?
It's a good point. There's really not anything that can convert, and that's kind of the problem that it seems like they're facing right now. I think Milo just got 2, maybe 3 kills on their own after the fight was already done. And now the nano boost is coming through on the Mega Riolu because Obscure got the pick on the Lord. This is definitely not an over fight for Bap in the Hat. They are still fighting this, and it's forcing Boom Square to retreat.
Honestly, it does look like it was a wrong nano target. It looks like the nano actually was supposed to go towards the Orisa, but you know, regardless, it looks like this is a somewhat of a fight when the Barrage coming out, countered by the Primal Rage. Looks like it's still pretty even. They can invest a Blizzard if they wanted here, but
I feel like I'm watching a Ghost game right now, Juan. There is not a single person that has been dying in like the past minute. The Kiriko Rush is going to bring an end to that finally, but it actually forces out the Blizzard as well from Bap in the Hat, ultimately too, and the Valkyrie. One Trick is trying to even the score by themselves, but nothing is going to end up working out for them in their favor. Bap in the Hat lost so much for nothing to be gained.
yeah, the switch from Mega Reeler going onto that Reaper is definitely going to be able to equalize the power somewhat here. The Winston won't be able to dive as freely onto the backline with the Hellfire shotguns in your face. It looks like there's still the problem of who kills the pharmacy. It doesn't look like they're left alone. Oh, well, looks like when I say that, Soy finds 2 with his Death Blossom. Yeah, it's.
I honestly really wish that there might have been just a little bit more communication there on the side of Bap in the Hat about the location of Soy inside of the back line with the Reaper roll. Soy was allowed to just kind of step into the back there, and it didn't seem like they took any focus fire from the pharmacy. That is realistically the one thing that can actually kill them in this comp if they just dive into the back with the Reaper ultimate. But now there's no more Reaper to even worry about. Soy ends up switching.
Yeah. It looks like, well, the Soldier 76 comes out and immediately dies. Soy is fighting for their life right now on the carts, and somehow is alive at the end of all that. Looks like the Reaper is really digging in, but dies at the end. The defense holds strong for the side of Boom Squared.
And this is just such a good comp switch from Boom Squared. Again, like I was saying earlier, Zafe on the Winston is so oppressive and so forward-facing that there's no way that Bap in the Hat could actually have had a way to work their heroes into there, especially working with the pharmacy. Now that they've swapped off of it, it's taken a bit to get some ults up. Now they have a decent fight on their hands, though. The Dragon Strike awaits them. Obscure eats it again.
Gets spun away by Obscure. It looks like the ultimate's coming out for both teams. Yeah, looks like Bap in the Hat comes out ahead of, but I say that Milo gets an arrow to the face.
Charybdis has really kind of just been the X factor on the side of Boom Squared for this. The Kiriko ult does come out from Die Laughing, which could potentially seal the deal for this fight. Mega Riolu finds nothing as well to try and counter this ult, so it should be free space here from
the Terror Surge coming in.
Wait.
Finds. Oh, perfect Suzu.
And Suzu. Wow, they really countered that incredibly well. I hear the tack visor from Soy coming out. It's forcing a bit of the players back, but Lore's the one who finds the unfortunate short end of the stick there.
And they're gonna wish they had the sound barrier for this last fight if they get any more takes here. And yeah, press W and kill them all. That is the motto of Bap in the Hat right now. But as I say that, looks like Milo's still coming back. They don't have that damage source there. And it looks like... Oh, never mind. They're still able to win this.
You're going to get everybody on Boom Square again? I mean, Obscura's just been a menace so far on this Orisa.
Yeah.
Like a low-key demon for Bap in the Hat on this hero. Definitely an unsung hero of this squad as well. Mega Riolu has been putting on some flashy things. Safin has had some insane Suzus, but Obscura's just been staying incredibly consistent on this Orisa. If you even just go over to their POV, their javelins are always on point, consistent tracking all around. I mean, it's even forcing Zafe to go on to his dreaded Sigma pick. Zafe's Sigma is really good.
And immediately finds a pick onto the enemy Reaper. Oh, and yeah, it looks like the Sigma able to, advance with that shield, and then allow the DPS behind him to get so much more space and room to work with if they're not getting, pushed into a corner by an Orisa. But let's see, there's still a minute left. Oh, unfortunate rock.
I mean, you can't even do anything about that one, to be real. Zafe has built up his ultimate, by the way, like already. It's completely built up. The amount of damage coming out from this tank player is obscene. But the 5 ultimates are in favor for Bap in the Hat. Boom Squared could easily make this work though, as they have 4 of their own. Who is going to use their ults first? I'm excited to see what this Flux can do.
Last 20 seconds left. If Bap in the Hat play this smart, they use as little ults as possible and spread them out through this last remaining point, but all the Qs coming out from the side, from both sides, who comes out on top? It looks like Boom Squared comes out on top at the end of this ultimate exchange. 1 second left, 1 player left on the cart. What does Safin do? And the answer is nothing.
Unfortunately, nothing. Yeah, and that's going to be a clean win from Boom Squared there. We are officially 1-1. We have a series on our hand, Juan.
Yeah, it looks like the Orisa is so oppressive, but Zafe is able to find somewhat of an answer in the Sigma, which is good, very good for him. It allows the DPS to be able to shoot the enemy tank really freely. The pharmacy coming out from the side of Bap in the Hat at the beginning of their attack, it looked very, very promising, but it didn't really find that much value when it got to second point.
Yeah, the comp switch that came through there from Boom Squared was really just too much, it seemed, for Bap in the Hat to deal with at that point, especially since Zafe was being, like I said earlier, just so aggressive on Winston. There was no room for the backline to breathe. Safin was just under so much pressure consistently throughout that entire second point defense from Boom Squared.
Yeah, let's not forget Cryptus with the Hanzo finding so many one-shots.
It was crazy.
Every time Bap in the Hat gets a pick on the enemy support, the Boom Squared support, Charybdis responds with the kill on the DPS. It equalizes the fights all the time, and they're able to bleed so much time that they're able to have last fight not even halfway through the last point. And that ultimately decided the fight.
Yeah, it really did, and it's just been an absolute nail biter because of these switches that have just been consistently coming through from both of the sides. Bap in the Hat and Boom Squared have been consistently rotating the roster to see which picks are going to net them the most value, and that's going to be especially important going into our next map, which is going to be Rialto, a map where swaps can be made pretty frequently.
Yeah, it looks like Nyx is coming back in for the side of Bap in the Hat. We're going to see a lot of main tank shenanigans here. It looks like this entire support line for Boom Squared is being swapped out. Lower and Die Laughing swapped out for Alphabet and Rat Twitch. So we'll see. I don't really have a lot of information on what those two support players play.
Well, I know for a fact that Rat Witch is like a Mercy player, plays a little bit of Lucio, one of the DPU Academy players. Alphabet, we've been seeing run a fair amount of Kiriko, so I wonder if there's two sides of the coin we can see here. There's a side of the coin where there's the Reinhardt or the Orisa that consistently comes out from Zafe and they play a really aggressive rush, or there's potential that they lean into Zafe Sigma and attempt to play with like a Blue Beam Mercy pocket your DPS kind of composition, which can work really well on Rialto as well. The Hyperspheres have a great distance on Rialto for around the corner. And we're seeing something interesting right now on our screen, Swan,
Yeah.
from these teams.
Yeah, it looks like both teams opting for a Sigma. And the long-range DPS, as you said, Sojourn and Farah's Hanzo Echo. Yeah, Rialto is one of those maps that you prefer a long-range, DPS to be able to get those, get those kills and get that damage in. And the sightlines for Rialto do allow these DPS to run very, very freely.
Soy on the Echo is something I'm very interested in this matchup, I will say, Juan. Soy up against the Milo Farah could be the answer that Boom Squared needs to finally keep this Farah in check, which is something they didn't have despite still winning the second map, I mean.
Yeah, looks like Hanzo dies immediately. Pharmacy really coming in and totally destroying the side of Boom Squared here. Looks like a response from This is a switch to that Ashe. Yeah, good work here.
Good work. I can absolutely see the reason why Bap in the Hat decided that Rialto was going to be the best move here. This pharmacy has so much room around this vertical geometry just everywhere with these roofs. Defara just gets so much damage out, potentially while not taking any damage as well. It's insanely hard to look at it, but as soon as I say that, and despite the fact that it's so good for this map, a swap comes through immediately.
Yeah, that team kill really, you have to deal with the Orisa, but I guess Reaper is the best counter for any tank that wants to be up in your face. But
that's true.
Looks like Nyx finds a pick onto this, and the defense holds just barely here.
Suzu going to cleanse Zafe of any wrongdoing, the ante going away. Nyx finds the pick on the Rat, which as well, these exit picks coming out from Bap in the Hat just to buy time could potentially give like an entire fight's worth of time.
Oh, what happened to Soy?
Especially with Soy too. What just happened there?
That is not what you want to do if you're backing up. It didn't seem like Soy was in any particular danger. Maybe just a Max Sentinel slip into the canal. You know, it happens to the best of us.
Truly. And even the best of us have those moments, but the best of us also have great ways to use their ultimates. 5 online pretty much for each team here. Soy actually opting in to use the copy first. Alphabet using the Kiriko ult as well. This combination could potentially do some wonders, but the sleep from Saffron was insane.
A perfect sleep, stopping any potential of the Echo copied overclock. And but it doesn't even matter because it looks like Boom Squid still finds their way into this fight and potentially the first point.
Yeah, Zafe trying to even get the straggle picks coming into that, and One Trick will end up falling victim to some stray sticky bombs coming out from Soy, and that's such a big danger that comes out with running this Echo. Mercy, it is so dangerous whenever any of these stickies get into any close contact of you, especially with the focusing beam, with the blue beam from Mercy. There's no chance. You do not live that whatsoever. The burst damage is insane. You have to take out the Echo so early, and that's exactly what Bap and the Hat are doing right now.
Yeah, it does not seem like Bap and the Hat, they don't know what to do against this Orisa, but well, Orisa dies, but still, it just seemed like in the neutral fight, they oh, it looks like Zafe goes to tries to mirror the Sigma as well. Well, we have a mirror matchup now.
I think they might have heard you there,
Oh.
Juan. Is the dead blossom? Oh, you gotta check your You gotta check your corners there. That is so sad.
Oh, Milo sitting up on top. Just sees the Echo Mercy walk on in, and you know what? Decides to press Q because why not? Free 2 kills there.
The Q button always works. Charybdis has theirs available online. It could potentially be big as well. This Dragon Strike has such a nice area to be able to affect all the people on the bridge, but somebody's got to heal Charybdis. Nyx was focusing them.
Yeah. So while we're fighting on this bridge, we'll see what ults each team ends up deciding to use here. Oh, looks like Nyx falls into the canal after being killed by Zafe. It looks like there's a foothold here now, and the car progresses through point 2.
I'm pretty sure. Wow, that was a lot of ultimates that was just used from Bap and the Hat there. We need to talk about that. 4 basically ultimates used for the side of Bap and the Hat in that extended fight, and nothing ended up coming out of it. Boom Squared are set to go for a really long time here, as long as they stay alive.
Yeah, and it looks like 2 ultimates coming out. 3 from the side of Boom Squared here. And let's see what they can do. Looks like 2 Sigmas, 3 Sigmas on the field. Let's see what any gravitic fluxes? Any more? Oh, looks like Soy cannot get the gravitic flux in time.
Does end up getting that focusing beam back though as soon as the copy ends, and that's actually what's gonna end up taking out Nyx. Like I said, this focusing beam with the Mercy Pocket is just insane. It cuts through people that are under half HP like butter.
Yeah, and that is all the ultimates used on the side of Boom Squared. And coming into round point 3 against a Reinhardt now, which is very, very interesting. You know, at least if you hold this very close corner, the Reinhardt could work. And even more towards the last part too. We'll see how Boom Squared reacts to this.
And this is what Bap and the Hat found success on as well in their first round on Helios, coming out on the Ruins map. Nyx's Reinhardt was so oppressive up against Zafe. That was on the Roadhog, but notably. However, Zafe on the Sigma, it does a very similar effect. They have to worry about though is this Flux, and Nyx even gets nanoed in it.
But it does no damage with the nano and the armor coming in. And yeah, Nyx is still very, very healthy. Milo coming with the Attack Riser finds 2 off the space created by the Nano Reinhardt walking into the enemy team. So, probably a very, very good switch here.
True. I really like the switch that's coming out from Nyx. These swaps are very unorthodox, typically coming out from Nyx for the majority of this match.
Oh.
But every single time it's been played well. And Zafe is going to try this mirror, even though they don't have a Lucio.
And everyone, we have a Reinhardt mirror match. Let's see. Get your MTBs ready in the chat. This shatter coming up from Nyx finds nothing, but
oh my! Zafe just barreled forward. One Trick was in a space where they, unfortunately, wrong space, wrong time kind of moment. Mega Riolu, though, will end up breaking the shield of Zafe, allowing them to be able to breathe freely on the denizens of Boom Squared, but nobody ends up falling. It's now neutral territory, and Boom Squared are swinging back.
The shatter comes out, finds 2.
Wow.
And that might be, well, it looks like Bap and the Hat still has one last fight left. They opt to switch for that Orisa. And Orisa into this Reinhardt it does work very well. Let's see how they can come back.
True, the propeller blocks the spin, your gold can block the shatter. The fire strike, though, doesn't end up saving your squishies from anything. It's a great boot that comes out from One Trick to hold Zafe at bay even more. I don't know if Nyx is realistically going to get much more done, though. One Trick is going to try even farther to carry this fight in, but Zafe is just dominating this lobby.
Looks like there's just too much momentum from Boom Squared, and the Orisa swap doesn't really do much here. A very, very good attack from the side of Boom Squared. They were able to react very well to the switches from back in the hat, especially for the tank line. We even saw the Reinhardt mirror match for just a split second, but that was very, very entertaining to watch. But now let's see if they opt for the long range DPS again. Like it went from the long range DPS and it transitioned more and more to that Reaper, that soldier, more more, I guess, geared towards that mid range and that very close range.
Yeah, definitely. Charybdis, though, I have a hunch Charybdis is not going to be swapping off these long range heroes at least. What I will say though, Bap in the Hat, they've been insanely flexible with that DPS line for the most part. Even when their pharmacy wasn't working, which seemed to be their bread and butter, like you said, switching over to the Reaper, they decided we're going to try and play closer, which it seems like they have their main tank in that prefers to be playing in these more close-up engagements a lot more, which is good for them. But even when they're not playing with the tank that likes to play these far away battles, Bap in the Hat is still flexing around to do that. Mega Riolu and Milo right now showing that, playing the Pharma and the Hanzo.
Yeah, and then Sapin on signature Moira coming in. See this. Let's see what Moira brings to this composition. It looks like, Milo, Mega Riolu battering the enemy front line with all that damage. Oh, and Milo dies from this.
Will be the first pick. Will get rezzed. Thankfully, Milo gets brought back into this fight. This is such a good corner for the pharmacy to actually spam down. You can see right now this Pharah has so many different angles to take and potentially hide in, which is great for the Mercy as well. Can just sit inside of the room, but not against Charybdis.
Yeah, what is scarier than a Bastion free firing you in is turret form, and the Ashe dealing the final blow onto that pharmacy. It looks like Milo opts to switch to the Reaper, which honestly, probably not the best to work with in this situation. And Bastion switch coming into like real. Oh, looks like they're just playing mystery heroes at this point.
Yeah, this is some very weird swaps coming through. It's almost like a hybrid spam comp rush comp. It doesn't seem like the DPS are really on the same page as the rest of the heroes on the side of Bap in the Hat. Maybe just prefer not to play the Reaper in this case. I maybe wouldn't have minded it to see if we can rush in onto Zape, who is just dealing so much poke damage right now. But realistically, how do you jump onto anyone on the side of Boom Squared? They're all positioned so far back.
Yeah, and it just feels like with the Bap in the Hat composition, you just want to barrel through with the Moira, with the Lucio speed, and cause as much damage as possible. But the Reaper actually probably would have been best for this. But this hybrid comp, we'll see how well this can work in this upcoming fight.
It could work really well for them. Milo does have this dragon to be able to use. Zafe is dono walling this ult a little bit, but does manage to get full support. Nothing will actually end up coming of it though. There was no clear sightlines for anybody on the team.
That was a very unfortunate miss by Zafe here.
Yeah.
Gryphitic Flex needed to find a lot more value than just characters behind a wall.
Well, there's a lot of reserve coming out from Charybdis there. Potentially could have thrown that Bob out a lot earlier. Chose to save it. We're gonna see if that nets them anything in this fight. And I don't think, unfortunately, it will. I don't think the Bob really stepped out as forward as it really needed to.
Yeah, and that lets Bap in the Hat push this through the statue. But there is still multiple fights left for for Boom Squared to come back. This is a long-range Bastion ult.
This is like really early. Trying to get
Charybdis?
Okay, I guess that's one way to do it. Milo doesn't have the dragon. That would be the preferred ult for this point. But if you're just sitting behind the team of Boom Squared, you don't need it.
And looks like the cleanup crew coming in. The Sigma will be the last to die on the side of Boom Squared. Oh, I swear I could see the solid contested mark, but over 3 minutes into point 2, not bad. And we'll see how Bap in the Hat responds to the high ground hold.
That is such a rough pick for the side of Blue Square. Not having Rat Witch for your blue beam on such a long stretch for the cart to travel. That is going to be like one free fight, one for you right away. And now Soy is down 2. Where are they going to get a fight?
They are bleeding respawns right now. It is not good for them. They need to consolidate and, you know, take this high ground control. But yeah, as you said, oh, we're gonna pick something out. Where does it find?
Zafe's trying to make this work. Safin does have this coalescence. I think Zafe needs to be saving these fluxes for maybe something that his team can actually follow up on. It seems a little bit hero play-ish. The Safin literally jumps over the rock, Matrix style, and is in the back line.
And the DPS Moira lives to fight another day. And the B comes out, does save him from the rush and the Valkyrie. We'll see what more can be found here. Oh, looks like Bap in the Hat gets their first pick on Scriptus. Oh, but Nyx dies here. That is not a good trade.
Yeah, unfortunate trade too. Nyx was doing a really good job at keeping the members of Boom Squared separated so that Bap in the Hat could potentially do something about it. But in the end, there was just no damage conversion to actually give that up. Whether or not it meant that members were down and they couldn't get the damage out, or if the focus just wasn't there, nothing happened. And now this is just about last fight territory. They have the Bob, they have the Orisa ults, but Bap in the Hat needs to be worried at this point. They need to finish.
I wonder if Mega really wants to jump up and put
this
the
is
Bob
crazy.
onto the point. Oh, no, where the Bob going? Where's
No,
the Bob
Bob! Where are you going? Where are you going, Bob? Oh, no.
Oh,
And
no,
Safe gets
we
2.
did not want that to happen.
Nice.
Oh, that is the most unfortunate thing I think that we could have seen happen from that. I was so worried about that because that happens every time that I play Ashe. I was just hoping that it wouldn't happen to Mega Rioli there.
Mega Riolu is kicking himself right now.
I mean, how do you stop that too? Bob just likes to like run up against the walls sometimes and not register collision.
Yeah, I feel like you know, a change they need to make to Bob is that you should be able to, you know, stop Bob manually.
Good point. Yeah, and now going into this fight, Charybdis has this Bob, and Safin only has the Cole to work with. Milo does find a pick though. Soy without the ult.
And that is very important here. No Deadeye means that you were able to just push up here and freely fire. Milo kills the Bob. Let's see what else we can get here. The Coalescence comes out. Oh, and immediately gets picked off by Charybdis. Deadeye comes out. Everyone's hiding. Nyx ultimately dies. And the 3 members
no touch.
sitting by the boats cannot touch. And that is a map for Boom Squared. What a series we have.
Incredibly close series that we have going on so far. I do want to just throw it over to a quick break really quick so we can catch our breath in the middle of this series, but we are going to be going to map 4 right after this and right after the replay is done playing. Please don't go anywhere, everyone stick around. Map 4 is coming up right after this short break.
Like I was just sleeping the whole time.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back
Our
to the Chicago
pick.
Collegiate Mixer. I'm here again with the silent Juan, staying in, not being as silent because they are casting this match. We are up
Very, very true.
2-1 right now. Boom Squared taking on Bap in the Hat. It's been a pretty exhilarating match, and now we're going into push. We're going into Coliseo. It could be a quick one, but it could be going to a map 5.
Yeah, honestly, these games have been very, very close. I wouldn't be surprised if Bap in the Hat do manage to pull out a win here, and we get our map 5. But yeah,
These are some
we'll see.
interesting swaps. The game is not currently in right now, as players are still loading in. However, as we get booted in, Obscure on the Ramatra? Now this is something interesting. And Ramatra's a good pick too. We've been seeing Ramatra a lot in some of the higher tier tournaments.
Yeah, Ramatra does really, I didn't really believe that they made a tempo tank, quote unquote, but Ramatra does feel like, especially with his Nemesis form, you get a lot of picks with that Nemesis to use those pummels.
Your backline has to stay constantly aware of it as well. Oh, but this is so good from Boom Squared. He's alive! Nobody ended up dying in that altercation. That is why Nemesis form is so good. The right click keeps you alive pretty much in any instance.
Yeah, but having to only invest that Nemesis form just to block all that damage is not a very good use of that ability. And it looks like Die Laughing gets the first pick on the Safin. The Boom Squared is the rod is slowly being kidnapped by Lorenzo right now, but
it's such a good move, and that's just like a lot of the high level players will do this a lot, where they'll understand that the point overall is the thing that needs to be won, and as long as you're on that point, other team members from the opposing team are gonna have to go back and try and deal with you, whether that's 1, whether that's 2. Either way, you're getting some people off a point and you're giving your front line a better chance to push in. And these walls from Soy are so good.
Yeah, Soy already has that Blizzard. They could use it in this circle right here, and he does. And the Ramatra out. The Coalescence unable to find any support. Oh, but does find one pick though.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the fastest character in the squad on the side of Boom Squared. Lord's gonna be back in pretty much no time. Thankfully, spawn advantage is in the side of Bap in the Hat, and they're gonna have to give the Bob butt scratch here. But Lord's already back.
Yeah, very uncontested first checkpoint with Rutard coming out though. Let's see where that lands. And
potentially in the center of Boom Squared, vaulting over, finding 2. Where was Lord?
Oh, that's 3!
What just happened? Charybdis hitting the Giga Dragon, and now Zafe in the spawn of Bap in the Hat. I mean, how did that even happen?
That was, it looked so good for Bap in the Hat, and then Charybdis somehow finds a dragon, and it finds 3. And again, that Boom Squared pushes forward, uncontested.
Charybdis has been just a hero for the side of Boom Squared for such an insanely long amount of time. It's so consistent. And Lord Dolls with the beat!
Well, that is not good. Charybdis finds another one, finds the enemy Lucio as well. It's Annihilation ripping through the enemy team. They just have to disengage, I guess. Yeah, looks like they just have to. They have to abandon the robot for now, and regroup with their enemy team.
I think Boom Squared was relying on that beat for that next push coming up there. I think as soon as they saw the Lucio fall, they just said, hey, let's not even fight it. Let's just back up as far as possible, but Soy is down. That's so big.
And the fort spawns are now lost from the side of for the side of Bap in the Hat. And now it looks like Boom Squared is slowly back, but you know, they have the beat, they have the Kitsune Res. Let's see what they use first. It looks like the jump pad actually, the concussion mines are able to displace so many people. It's really difficult. Kitsune Res comes out from both sides now.
Oh wow, creating an X pattern over the cross of point with the Mei ult coming in over the top of it, freezing everybody in their wake. Soy did find a pick, but it's a nice beat coming out from One Trick a little bit late into that fight. That's going to secure so many picks from the side of Bap in the Hat. A well-timed usage of their ults, but it was pretty much all of them.
Yeah, and that is very unfortunate. And now, you know, Bap in the Hat slowly make their way up to the checkpoint. There's still at least one. There's at least one fight. Maybe two if they play it nicely, but you know, they're coming back with the Annihilation again into a Terror Surge and Hanzo ult.
Yeah, the Terror Surge Hanzo ult is like a really good combo, and it's executed pretty well there, but they stepped out of the way so fast, Bap in the Hat.
Yeah, that is not very good. The Nemesis form finds the Hanzo, and it still looks pretty even, but it looks like Bap in the Hat comes out on top here. And they save their Annihilation.
Yeah, that's just gonna say that. Saving their Annihilation in that fight is incredibly huge, especially considering the fact that this fight and this point is pretty much going to get right to the end. Boom Squared might try and recontest at the end here to prevent Cap, but Obscure has this ultimate to be able to contest that. Being able to contest the butt scratch here with this ultimate is so big for Bap in the Hat.
It looks like the Annihilation comes out. The hog switch from Zafe. He just gets ripped to shreds. It is not what you want to happen. It looks like this Annihilation gives them a free checkpoint. Now we transition to the butt stretch.
I'm gonna be honest, I think Obscure could have played that even more aggressively with that ultimate. It could have potentially gotten even more picks. Potentially could have actually put more pressure on Charybdis as well with that ultimate, so that Mega Riolu didn't fall in that fight with the tire. Sapin does end up taking them out, but the damage is definitely done so far. Mega Riolu's not going to get back for a while, but that tire goes a far distance.
Oh, that is not good. Zafe needs to live here, and then they might be able to... Oh, yeah, the bot's being already pushed back. Wait, in the midst of this, the bot is being kidnapped. Oh, it stopped. It gets stopped immediately, but still, who comes out on this?
At that point, is it Lore? No, it's actually I can't even tell who that was. It was.
Oh, Lorenzo finds two.
I don't know how this is even happening. Lore also has the beat to invest in this fight should they so please, but I don't think they're even going to need it. Being able to have 4 ultimates for this next fight push is going to be so difficult, but One Trick finds the pick. There's no more beat.
Another Annihilation from Obscure. He can
use it? Oh, punching the main could potentially get them. The ice block comes out. Obscure's holding up forward. This Annihilation has to come out, right? Oh, not safe finding that pick.
Might be. The Charybdis is dead though, so that's a lot of damage gone from the side of Boom Squared.
It's so late.
And
2 members already fell from the side of Bap in the Hat as soon as Obscure pressed Q. I would have preferred to maybe see something earlier, but they're even going to go for it. They're going even further. One Trick with the beat, the counter beat from Lore as well, trying to put themselves back into it. If Zafe can get this whole hog, I think it's over regardless though.
Bap in the Hat desperately trying to fight for this checkpoint and this lead, but they just fall short. And Boom Squared regain control of the bot, pushing it back. It looks like there's a little fight happening in the backline, but yes, they go their separate ways. Oh, looks like he's still hunting.
An interesting standoff to be seeing between these two supports, because it's like both of them just start contesting cart and backlining and then fighting each other. It's very entertaining to see. And coming into this next fight, the Kiriko ults as well. The X pattern is going to be created yet again. Here we go.
And that Blizzard zones off, but a quick Suzu is able to save this Obscure. But as I say that, multiple picks from both sides. They finds 2, but Milo finds 2 as well with this Death Blossom. It looks like this is a very scrappy fight. Respawn's coming back, but it looks like And it looks like Bap in the Hat find the win here. Oh, the bot is getting kidnapped by Lorenzo again.
Oh,
He
it's
gets the
so
checkpoint.
far!
He gets the checkpoint, does he? Oh, he does get the checkpoint. That's
I think
forward
so.
spawns. That's forward spawns for the end for their team.
Oh my god, we were talking about it earlier, Lore, with the back cap. That wasn't even just like a for fun back cap. That actually could potentially give Boom Squared the win here
Yeah, look,
because
they can't-
of them winning that fight.
They can't get it. They can't contest this anymore. They're back too soon.
Oh my lord, what a clutch play from the main support player of Boom Squared, trying to amp out the tanks right now. Obscure has the Nemesis form ultimate to even use into this. The hook will come through, and it's Mega Riolu to pop their ult first and finds the Lucio.
Falls to the Riptire. And it looks like Bap in the Hat does find 2 picks. The Hanzo lunging in gets met with the fists of Obscure. And now the lead is in sight. The game might just be decided here.
It's so close right now, isn't it, Juan? There's
It is so
potential
close.
for maybe a member of Boom Square to come back in and touch. Very small potential here. It's getting just down to the wire. Lore is going to have to run for it. Zafe trying to invest the whole hog to get in. Gets whooped back. Getting
The
pushed,
Nemesis
shoved,
form.
torn, and battered. And the Nemesis form comes out.
No,
even
the
with
beat!
Ramatra
The beat is
ult.
gone! The beat is gone!
Did they get Ajax? One sure got Ajax out of that beat. Obscure
No, he
has
still
the
has
ultimate
his
too.
beat. He just died before he could use it.
Oh,
They just have to
no.
solve for these. Oh,
They
he's
didn't get
died!
on!
We have a map 5!
This is insane. A map
Oh my
5
goodness.
leading in to the grand finals. Neither of these teams want to let this go.
This is... I'm on the edge of my seat here. This is so intense. When One Trick died with the beat left, I thought it was just game over, but... You know, the rest of the team had ults too. They were coming up 80-90%. It did look like, you know, Bap in the Hat really did have that map. And even though there was a lot of very smart plays from the side of Boom Square, it just seemed that they couldn't find that last push to get them that lead.
I mean, this is an insanely close matchup coming out from both sides of this squad. I think what's the most interesting part about it is seeing the various ways in which these rosters will go about trying to structure their fights. Most notably, Boom Squared seems to try and use this strange element of surprise and displacement in terms of putting lore onto the cart, trying to lure people away as much as possible. But Bap in the Hat really understood what they were doing there.
Yeah, there's some very, very clutch plays, especially from from Obscure's Ramatra. That Nemesis form finding so many pummel kills, that ultimately did decide most fights. And the Annihilation, you cannot stand in there, or else you will get ripped apart. And, you know, the only thing that Boom Square can do is disengage from that. They don't have the damage to kill the Ramatra. Not even the Roadhog can kill the Ramatra. And that you rely on the Roadhog to get so many one-shot picks. If there's a Ramatra with, you know, the Ramatra ult is not only damaging, but it's also blinding. I can't see anything if I'm in a Ramatra ult from any, even if it's my own. And that, you know, yeah, that definitely just buys them a lot of space.
The particle effects are honestly just too much to even try and fight your eyes through.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And while you were just talking about Obscure's Ramatra, it seems like Bap in the Hat are actually going another direction. It seems like both teams are going in different directions. Bap in the Hat switching Obscure out for Nyx in this situation, and Boom Square, yet again, have swapped out their support line.
Yes. And this is a map 5 Nepal. We're entering the game now. And, you know, we'll see what they want to do. This is the same support line that this is the same, you know, same teams for Ilios. So we could potentially see something similar being played out here. You know, the Reinhardts, maybe the Sojourns again, but we'll see. We'll see. This is not particularly a Ilios. Not Ilios. Sorry, Nepal is not really a pharmacy map. Besides for a shrine, but. And we'll see what they have in mind. But
Yeah, I would be interested to see exactly what they're going to try and go for here. Ratwich is definitely a Mercy player, like you were saying. uh, they did find some success a little bit earlier running the Echo, so I could potentially see that coming out. What is really interesting is that they have this far locked on for Sanctum.
yeah, but it looks like with the support for Bap and Hat, they just want to run into the enemy team, try to get across the bridge as fast as possible.
Oh, they are running out with it on Sanctum. This is interesting.
And both teams
I was
opting
not
for the Soldier
expecting this.
76. Maybe they have a read that they want to play the Pharah.
Could potentially be. Mega Riolu's not going to be in a great position against the composition that's coming out from the side of Boom Squared. Milo will also potentially have a difficult time trying to stage up some of these nice sight lines if the Pharah keeps providing them too much pressure. But right now, it's Ratwich that really has to be careful about this Soldier 76 in the air, just constantly raining damage. As I say that, it's Zafe that falls.
Yeah, and you know, that's so important because Bap and the Hat coming out the Lucio, they get the bridge control first. They're able to push across. The Pharmacy can't really do much if they have to shoot into the pillars. They have no sightlines. And ultimately, the 3 remaining members that are not in the air get destroyed by the ultimately much faster and much more bulkier comp of Bap and the Hat.
Yeah, this comp is going to be really difficult to just like randomly take down in some sort of poke war. Realistically, the only targets you can hit is Mega Riolu here. Everybody else has a movement ability or something that can keep them sustained for a long amount of time. And Zafe actually decides to go over to the Zarya to commit some more consistent damage out.
And it looks like, you know, how do you best counter an Orisa? Probably the Zarya. But let's see if it finds any... Oh, there's a cap coming in. Looks like Soy finds a pick onto Milo. Oh, but it's pretty even right now. The Terror Surge comes out inside there, you know, their spawn basically. And oh, there's a... What is happening right now?
I don't even know. I bet the Hat even realized that they've lost just like 20% off of the back of deciding to push in and ult there from Nyx. I don't know if they have. And Soy has found 3 picks out of the back of thin air, essentially. It will get converted back, but the point still hasn't even flipped.
And equalizing the scores. A perfect Suzu coming in, blocking the Riptide damage. But yeah, that was a little bit of a misplay. But nothing more you can do if your tank falls. Let's go on in the backline. You do it.
Yeah, you
Pharmacy
go.
isn't your concern. But
They have the grab now. Zafe trying to line something up, potentially to the back line. And will actually end up getting a few members. The beat will sustain players through, and Nyx gets the pick actually. The Cure Gold is still committed in. They could turn this around theoretically if you are on the side of Boom Squared, and Soy is getting it done.
yeah, it looks like they're trying to squeeze out as much percentage as possible, but they ultimately all fall to the Zarya and the Pharah of Boom Squared. Yeah. That was a very unfortunate fight because it actually looked like that grab missed. But Mega Riolu walked into it, I think. And they had to invest the beat just to be able to save Mega Riolu. But it did not matter in the end because they just found so much damage, so many picks at the end of it.
A really good entry tool right now is in the I was gonna say it's in the toolkit of Bap and the Hat, but Nyx is no longer there. Safin's not gonna be able to use this ult to crack anything open for at least a few more seconds.
Yeah, and it looks like if Boom Squared play this right and stall out as much as possible. Oh, there's a switch coming onto the Roadhog, but this could be last fight territory if Boom Squared extends this fight as much as possible.
Yeah, like the grab comes through. Tried to maybe get a barrage off there, but actually it's too much pressure coming out from the side of Bap and the Hat. Soy gets picked off. There's no way a res can realistically come through in such a dangerous position for a Mercy either. So now, Boom Square just has to rely simply on holding inside of this small room and getting the picks, but the Soldier and Disruptor is going to slow Zape too much to get anything done. It's picks coming out only in the favor now of Bap and the Hat, 70% and climbing.
Yeah, look at all the tools left for this last fight. We got both support ults from the side of Boom Squared, but Nyx has that whole hog, and we could potentially see an overclock and a sound barrier come too. So this is the last fight possible for both teams. And we'll see which team pulls the trigger first. How do you
Nyx
want
has
to
this whole
engage?
hog to use. Realistically, you would think that this whole hog would be one of the first ultimates that were used if they would get it first, but Alphabet actually read their number, trying to use that Kiriko ult first. The beat comes out in response. 2 DPS are traded out. Nyx throwing people off the map. I don't know if it actually ended up working out.
Oh, the hook! The hook! The hook finds a Zarya! That's the tank gone for the side of Boom Squared. And this might end up being if who wins the Soldier versus Pharah. If the Pharah comes out on top, but there's still 2 players left on the side of Pap in the Hat. Oh, is it the Hog and the Lucio? And the Milo coming back in, finding the picks, and that is the first round of Nepal.
Nyx is just a maniac in that fight. That hook saves them there. If that Zarya is allowed to continue to stay alive and do more damage anymore, that is completely won in the favor of Boom Squared. There is no doubt in my mind about it. The fact that that hook came off and Zarya was completely out of the picture for the majority of that overtime fight is insane for the side of Bap in the Hat. And it's so good for them now, being up 1-0 in this series, that they like to play this close quarter style. Now, teleporters are coming out. They're gonna get there pretty quick.
Yeah, it looks like Boom Squared just want to squat on the point and set up with the Sim turrets and the Mei wall. Honestly, it reminds me of a very Overwatch 1 style strategy. You had those that is basically the same composition. But you know, how can Bap in the Hat break through this? The hook finds nothing, so you're just gonna have to. And Soy ends up finding the Lucio, so that is a quick fight loss. Oh,
Yeah,
right, to see that.
Typically, you would see this comp from Boom Squared done when there was 2 tanks in the game, specifically because the extra shield and extra tanky bodies would be able to uphold this much better, but it's still so difficult for Bap in the Hat to break in here unless they commit a ton of resources into melting down this Rhine as quick as possible. And they have to get against the Mei wall for that. But Mega Riolu can also just open it up by finding a pick like that.
Yeah, and honestly, Boom Squared still holds somewhat. Soy finds some picks, ended up finding the Roadhog, and they can stabilize here. They put the wall up, they breathe for a bit. Oh, and the quick headshot.
That's a nasty one coming out there from Soy as well to reset Safin back into the spawn with their Coalescence, by the way. So this is a potential way for Bap in the Hat to break into this fight, especially if this Coalescence can give Mega Riolu the space needed to not do anything with their ultimate, apparently. Actually, it seems like Bap in the Hat have opted to get rid of one of the best ultimates in the game for a Mei.
Very, very interesting. They might just want to, you know, they probably just want to, you know, do the same thing at, oh, the Shatter just nearly gets averted. Coalescence gets, oh, it cannot save Milo, and it can't save Mega Riolu, but ultimately it is a fight loss for Bap in the Hat.
It was like a fine reaction from Safin to come out there with the Coalescence and keep the members of their squad alive, especially if they're going to swap off to the Kiriko here. But I am still a little bit perplexed as to that Sojourn swap. I feel like the extra added pressure you could get from that overclock could have potentially swung that fight in their favor, especially since now you have this Kiriko difference from Boom Squared. It's going to come out so fast here from Alphabet.
And the Photon Barrier coming out, splitting the point in half. Yes, there's so much safe haven on this point for Boom Squared. They have so many places to hide behind in the point itself. The Mei wall, the Sim wall, and ultimately a team kill seals the deal. Map 5, last possible map. We have a series on our hands.
This is insanity. This is definitely the match to be watching right now. Map 5, round 3. If we get 99-99, we're basically seeing a finals map for our first match. This is an obscene showing coming out from both of these teams. And now we're getting into some unfamiliar territory almost as far as playstyle for this map goes. This is so unorthodox for both of these teams. You've seen some close quarters comp, you've seen some Pharah come out. What do you do exactly when there's kind of a hybrid of the two with the map? You can run the pharmacy, you can run something super close up and personal. I wonder how these teams are going to do it.
Yeah, and it seems like, you know, Bap in the Hat still want to go for the pharmacy. And it looks like it could work against, you know, there's so many windows on this map, and it looks like Mega Real finds the first pick onto the Symmetra. That is very important. That's so much pressure that Reinhardt doesn't have to face when doing the right play, and it doesn't look like that matters because Nyx ends up falling to his counterpart.
Yeah, that pin was really good coming out from Zafe. Mega Riolu attempting to even the score out and just find a random pick in the backline to potentially make things a little bit more in the favor, but unfortunately, they're going to end up falling. So now it's even more of a longer reset from the side of Bap in the Hat, as point control still remains from Boom Squared. Zafe is getting very close to that Earth Shatter really, really quick.
Yeah, you know, when Nyx dies, that is free ult charge for the Ryan, and that shatter advantage is going to be really important. You know, but Zafe knows that he doesn't have to respect anything because Nyx doesn't have the Earth Shatter. But now it looks like they want to start a fight here. Artillery Rush comes out. The Shatter finds two!
The Shatter! That Shatter is huge. Sapin trying to keep the members alive on their team of Bap in the Hat.
But look at the health! Look at the health!
The Coalescence is so strong from Sapin. It connects on so many members on the side of Boom Squared that they're able to turn this around.
Yeah, it seems like they had all the tools needed to secure the fight, but all of a sudden, all their health bars were below 20% on the entire team. And they were just able to, you know, win the fight from that. And look at all the resources now available for Bap in the Hat to get to even. And that Earth Shatter begins the fight, going up and around. Let's see where this goes.
The Mei ult is off camera here, also freezing members on the side of Bap in the Hat. Nyx is going to end up falling. It's an even fight so far, but without your line, this is really rough. If Zafe falls here, this could even it out. It is now even. And with this pharmacy high in the sky, how do you deal with this? Bap in the Hat are going to remain in possession of this point. It did take them a fair amount to do it, though, only needing one ultimate from the side of Boom Squared to force out a couple.
Yeah, and now Nyx has a Shatter, and now they decided to go onto the Zarya.
This is a bold swap, I think, coming out at this point. Already 35% though.
Maybe the Soundbearer, this Rat Witch needs to live here if they don't want to make this into one fight territory. And it goes wide. Somehow,
that is so lucky.
Somehow Nyx got booped into the air when casting his Earth Shatter, and that gave Zafe too much reaction time to cast a personal bubble and block all of it. It looks like they're still in this fight. Wait, hold on a sec, they're still in this fight!
Mega Riolu with the blue beam doing so much damage. Just pumped out way too. I don't even know how that worked. Mega Riolu just came up with the side Mercy Pocket in tow, coming up through main. Junkrat is just such a good hero in these instances where you need to swing back around on the fight with the Riptire. The Riptire
5 seconds left.
Milo gets a pick onto the one that could potentially
5
touch
seconds
with
left.
Beast.
Suzu's gone. Kiriko's dead. The B is gone too.
Just cleaning up right now. Bap in the Hat. They're going to be able to do it. Zafe gets 2 picks. It's actually the pharmacy completely dealt with at this point, but Zafe has to stay alive for so long, and OT is still ticking down. Rat Witch doesn't get the beat off!
Oh no! And an unfortunate loss for Boom Squared, driven to map 5. And ultimately, Bap in the Hat find the win for this match. What a game!
That was intense. That was one of the most intense matches I've seen in ages. I mean, both of these teams coming out with incredible support plays. Their tank lines, even if they were swapping in and out, regardless whether it be player or hero, were coming out with consistency across the board. And let me tell you, Juan, these DPS players came to
They
play
yes.
today.
It was a little worrying for second map. Yeah, I believe it's called Village. Yes, it is Village. So Apollo Village, when they came up with that Rhine, Mei Sim strat, they didn't. It seemed like Babinhat didn't know what to do against that. But it doesn't matter because if you can pull out these long range DPS, which it seems like Babinhat is more comfortable on the Pharah, the Junkrat, the Soldier, these long range DPS. Then they only need to win Sanctum and Shrine, and that's their two maps that they need for Nepal.
Yeah,
It's
and it ended up going perfectly in their favor.
yeah.
That was an absolute textbook match coming out from both the teams. Congratulations to Bab in the Hat.
Yep.
Moving on to our grand finals. We will be having our grand finals coming up here shortly. Please do not go anywhere. We have a thrilling conclusion coming up to this tournament coming up shortly. You won't want to miss it.
All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chicago Cross-Collegiate Mixer Tournament. I am joined here at my side today with another co-caster. This is actually Amp8. Amp, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, and from the games I've been watching today, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad to hear that as well. If I can recall, this is actually going to be your first time casting, is that correct?
That is correct, so I'm hoping everything goes well, as I hope to do this again in the future.
Awesome. You absolutely love to see it, introducing some new members into the scene, and what a great way to start. As you just saw, and everybody else on the stream just saw, we just went to a map 5 gigabanger. It was an insane matchup, going 99 to 99 in the last round. It ended up narrowly squeezing BAP in the Hat on top, so now we have this grand finals matchup of BAP in the Hat up against groupers who went 3-0 in their playoffs round. So we're going to see exactly what ends up happening across these two teams, but I don't think it's going to be a 3-0 shutout like it was last time. Amp.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm expecting a fantastic game here, possibly even going 5 maps. Just from what I've seen, it's gonna be good. That's all I can say.
It's going to be good indeed. Now, we haven't seen the groupers come in on stream, so we're going to talk a little bit more about their team coming into it and some of the key players that they have playing on it. Most notably, that of Ball and Hida. The map we're going to be loading into as well is going to be Busan as our starting control map. And for Ball and Hida being the top 500, being incredibly competent tank players and tank and TPS player, respectively, Ball and Hida going to be dishing out a lot of help for this grouper squad up against an intense battle in BAP in the Hat. What do you think we could expect to see here on Sanctuary, though, Amp?
Cool. I'm expecting a Widowmaker, if I'm gonna be honest. I think Hida is gonna pull out the Widow. 'Cause the amount of times I've had to play against Hida in the past. Oh, look, there he is on the Widow. And man, that Widow on the Hida on the Widow can just be a devastating combination, as I've just experienced in my own games in the past.
It can actually genuinely be the most oppressive thing to play against. I feel you. I've had to play against Hida Widow and never wish to play against it again. Definite one of the reasons I don't want to play on the roster anymore. Not gonna lie. Hida, you're my inspiration.
That said, the sim pick. That's kind of interesting. And it seems like they're sticking with it too. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, that is very strange. They have the Lucio to be able to try and enable it more, but they're taking this... No, actually, it looks like there's a separate battle going on. Hida's playing this flank right now. Meanwhile, Ball's taking the surge forward, allowing the sim to get some damage in.
Yeah. It just seems to be a, like, all-out brawl over at the drum right now. Meanwhile, the groupers are just taking the point. Oh, looks like they did end up contesting it, but let's see. So far, nobody's died, which is astonishing.
Yeah, honestly, it's looking like a GOATS matchup right now. As we say that, though, Mega Riolu does end up falling victim to a nemesis from Ball. Like I said, going to be one of their top dealers of damage on this team. Will end up getting anti-nated, but cleansed up right away. Tech Killer right on it with that Suzu. And Ball is going nuts!
Oh, yeah. Oh, on the Ramatra. I wasn't able to see that one coming either, and he's just kind of bullying them right now.
A little
Bullying
bit!
them off the point.
And that's the thing with Ramatra too, able to take up so much space with the Nemesis form, the punches, you have to hide your squishies, like, immediately as soon as it comes out. That's a great javelin, though. Pushes Ball immediately off of this aggressive positioning.
Ramatra with that 20% speed boost now, it's nearly impossible to stop him, like, from going past you. You have to body block him the best you can, but often it's just not enough. Like, even now, once again, he's just going in.
Ooh, and this is big kudos to the supports coming out from the side of the groupers as well. Hegemony and Tech Killer were able to keep Ball up through a rather insane amount of damage coming out onto Maul. And that's the thing with the block that comes out in the Nemesis form from Ramatra, you can get so much damage negated in just like that in an instance. It is wild, but it comes at the cost of a lot of damage traded off.
Yes. That said, if they just keep shooting him, that DPS can just finish the job while you just block. It's kind of amazing.
Absolutely, and the Suzu comes through the beat! It's a great beat to keep everybody alive, as the Kiriko ultimate didn't seem to get as much done as it wanted to, but the counter beat comes through. This is some great play coming out from the side of Bap in the Hat as the counter support ultimates come out, but it's still apparently anybody's game right now.
Yeah, it's still even up, and Mega gets some first pick, and it looks like Bap in the Hat might take this. They will.
They absolutely did, coming up with 3 ultimates for themselves in this fight now. This is going to be a really nice fight for them to securely hang on to, especially if they could withstand the storm that's going to be Hida with this not with this Tacklizer coming up, but with this Infra Site coming up, going to be able to see everybody through the walls. If Hida gets taken out early, this is a lot of value taken away from the groupers.
And I'm wondering if we're going to see a combo of Orisa and Bastion all come out right now.
Nothing really going on so far at the moment. Hida not being able to find the picks that are needed. The Bastion ult too, completely eaten up by Ball. There's not enough healing though to keep Ball alive through the sustain.
This is anyone's round or fight right now.
Milo finding the
Still
pick.
even.
It is still even actually. Safin does get picked off. The Kiriko being gone in that fight is huge for the side of the groupers. All they really need to do here is regroup, and they can storm back on with relative ease. Oh!
Wow, what a shot. And Hida is just tearing them to pieces right now. That's his third pick of this fight. Is he about to make it number 4?
Cleaning up, could potentially do it. One Trick just trying to come back on for the recontest, and it looks like the staggers are coming on. Understandably so, as the groupers go up into 99% territory. Just the stagger picks from the DPS coming on, as well as Milo's taken out and the recalls used from Mega Riolu. Realistically, there's not going to be very many more options for the side of Bap in the Hat to keep contesting here, and it's just straggles.
Tried their best to touch, but unfortunately, they don't have the damage to win this.
I don't think they do. It's a oh my lord, Hegemony ends up finding 2 picks towards the end of that for the cleanup. It will end up going into the way of the groupers, but not without an insane fight coming out from Bap in the Hat.
Yes, this is anyone's game still. That could have easily gone the other way, so we'll have to see if they try anything else this time. Try anything different this round.
Something else that also might be good to mention here, I feel like that was probably one of the better maps for the groupers going into it, considering the long sightlines. It feels like it was made particularly for Hida to go into the strengths of their primary Widowmaker player, who's still playing on Widow even into downtown.
Although this is a pretty good Widow map as well from this high ground right here. So we'll
and they know it.
Oh, but
look at their pathing. This is so smart. Oh, they can't see anything.
What a smart play.
Oh, and the
Moderate
javelin from Obscure, the wall as well. I have to say, that was excellent pathing coming out from Bap in the Hat. Whether or not that was Obscure or Safin or One Trick calling that out, could have been the DPS too. A great call coming out from the side of Bap in the Hat to counter what the groupers are going to play. But is it enough?
The groupers just seem to be whittling them down one by one.
Seem to be. Hida getting that pick onto Safin is crazy though, as Hida finally will get healed up and is taking some more aggressive angles. Ball trying to work their way back into this point as the Nemesis form comes out. Look at that wall, it's shielded off so many players.
You already have Annihilation up and going. That was incredibly fast actually.
Insane, actually, yeah. And it's popped.
This all could have the potential just to be a solo team killer if you can use it right, and it looks like he is.
Yeah, this is such patient play coming out from the groupers in this moment, and I really love it. This is such a smart way to play against the Orisa. You have to wait until these cooldowns are all used in a way where your tank can actually come in and get something done. If the Orisa still has one of their cooldowns left online, that's not an easy way to try and break into here. Ball playing around that, playing slow, waiting for the perfect moment to jump in with the Nemesis form and really deal some damage.
Looks like they're gonna keep the pathing the same because they know how dangerous this Widow can be, so they're gonna keep going off to the side.
He knows. Trying to find the shot. Obscure pulls 3 people in the middle. 264 power, but nobody's gonna fall victim to the Terra Surge as the Nemesis form keeps trying to find these picks through the beat. It's gonna be too much damage though.
It looks like Bap in the Hat will take back this point. That said, they did use 3 ults to do it, and they only have 2 left. Granted, they are 2 very powerful ults remaining, but the groupers only have beat as of right now, and that's actually, the groupers are not in a good spot right now for that.
No, they're swapping too. They just made 2 DPS swaps.
They'll be able to get Annihilation, but nothing else is guaranteed.
Milo has this tack visor too. Look at this angle that's set up. Riolu is going to pounce on them with the Blizzard, but the tack visor is going to be popped out first. Some even trades coming back and forth, but Safin being down on the side of a Bap in the Hat is insanity.
Ooh, but I don't know, Ball just went down, and that's arguably one of the worst deaths you can take, having your tank go down so soon.
Yeah, that's going to definitely even up the score for them coming into that fight. Should Safin have been down that entire time, there's definitely potential for Bap in the Hat to end up losing that, and for groupers to swing back in. But it seems like when Bap in the Hat are able to play around these aggressive sightlines that are trying to be taken from Hida and Ball, they end up doing really well.
And I'm going to chalk that whole win up to just smart pathing and smart positioning. They basically shut down Hida and made every fight a 4v5 pretty much the entire game until the end.
Secluding out the variables that are going to be the most dangerous on your enemy team is definitely going to be your top priority. And it was a great call from Obscure or Safin or whoever on the team was that called that they should pass down lower for the Widow. Wonderful call. And even the Sim teleporter coming in from Bap in the Hat to get their team closer up. It looks like it even happened as well on the side of the groupers, getting there so quick. Both these teams are playing like textbook plays.
Yeah. Oh, that was a nasty nade. They hit 4 people. Looks like everybody's split right now. Obscure gets isolated on the point.
Yeah, with 2 picks going out in the side of the groupers before any positioning could realistically be taken from a Bap in the Hat, it's going to spell danger for the side of the groupers. But Safin getting that sleep and an early pick off from Bap in the Hat, they're up 1 in this fight. Nate comes out. Suzu's out as well. This is definitely the sign for Bap in the Hat to start being aggressive in once that Suzu's out.
This is Bap in the Hat's fight right here. Wow. Yet it's still anyone's fight, even with the 2 neutral picks.
And a lot of it's thanks to Hida. Hida is just staying on the sidelines here, spraying out damage. The nade comes out. Both picks in this fight from the groupers have been thanks to Hida. Is this Ana player going to get the best of them though?
It looked like it.
Not quite going to be able to convert that into anything meaningful are the groupers. Will be taking 49% though. An Anger Javelin onto the trap as well from Obscure. I felt that one personally.
Looks like Bap in the Hat have Tire coming up, and with these choke points right here, this could be a big Tire. Oh,
This is
he's
gonna
going
be
on the
sneaky.
flank. Oh, and they have no
Suzu!
Suzu.
Oh,
Big
and
tire.
it wasn't able to get destroyed in time. Ball is also so low. The only silver lining for them here, though, is that they saved all of their ults.
This is true. They were gonna have all 5 ults going up. Now it would be in their best interest to not use all 5 right here, so I'm expecting maybe an Orisa Fire ult possibly.
Yeah, definitely could see that one coming out. Being aggressive with the Orisa ult here could net them a lot of value, but they need to not die! The
Just got
focus
blown
fire!
up.
Don't
That
want the favor
Junkrat.
to be returned.
Just. Well, that
Yeah,
said,
this
they
is-
still haven't used any ults.
This is such like a weird position now for the groupers to be in because they have to face the Junkrat on defense trying to push up with their Orisa comp. So they have to basically just not be in the sightlines of the Junkrat so that they don't get damage pumped out onto him. But it's
have
just
a-
impossible.
Another tire is up.
It's getting trapped, by the way, in the geometry.
But that said, it did end up using the entire beat while it was stuck there, so
Oh, that was,
was-
sad, unfortunately. Not Megariolu's fault there. However, Safin does end up getting picked in the midst of all of that. And now Obscure's going to have to try and take matters into their own hands since the Suzu's gone now. This ult could get some damage.
yes.
Or not.
He just got
You know? Just could fall completely down to the ground with nothing happening. And the
to be
fight.
honest, I don't really. That was just chaos what I just watched.
A little bit there, actually. That was the Q circus that we needed there in order to keep going. I will say though, some of the a highlight that came out of that Mary 6 on the Junkrat, getting 3 picks out of nowhere,
That was.
which it seems to be just a Junkrat war.
It is. It's pretty much going back and forth to these chokes, which anybody who's ever played this map knows getting out of this choke right here against the Junkrat is just pain.
Yeah, it is not easy.
This looks like they just let them out though, which is kind of interesting. We swapped to a monkey too.
Interesting swap coming out there, potentially to try and put more pressure on Safin after the TPs come out. And it seems like it's actually working. 99 to 99 right now. This is not anybody's fight either. It's pretty confidently swinging into the favor of the groupers. Just some last minute stall touches going to come in here. And Safin even uses their abilities just to touch onto the point. I don't think that the groupers have anything to worry about
So
as they're going to seal this up.
this monkey ended up working, which I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised by, but
Yeah.
hey, I didn't see it coming, but it worked.
Honestly, it was a fairly good read into their comp and just into the style that Bap in the Hat like to play. It seems like Ball understood the fact that Safin enjoys to play this sort of aggressive DPS-y style of support playing. So, as long as the team is more aggressive, consistently diving into that back line after the Moira uses the cooldowns, it's pretty much game over from there. And it should also be noted there was some pretty early Suzu usage used sometimes from the side of the groupers that was getting punished that didn't really need to happen anymore now that the aggressiveness from the dive came out.
Yeah, and I would even argue to say that if they were a little bit more patient with the Suzus, they probably could have turned several of those fights, but they ended up just the other team was like waiting for them, and they just outplayed them pretty well when it came to Suzu use.
Yeah, I will say the Suzu use from Bap in the Hat was pretty clean when they were using it, to be
Yes.
fair. Safin definitely prefers to be on that Moira, the very elusive, very DPS-y hero that Moira is, which hasn't really been doing too much bad things for Bap in the Hat, to be fair.
No, it's not. And honestly, Moira is kind of an underrated pick in my opinion. Moira can just cause devastating damage and healing if you can use it right. And Safin definitely knows how to use that Moira right.
Being able to get the best of both worlds in this case. We are heading in to our next map here, which is going to be Midtown. We've seen this map get played earlier. Actually, just saw it get played earlier by the Bap in the Hat, where Milo came out with the pharmacy. Milo in one trick, trying to get some stuff done. It ended up working pretty well in their favor from what I can remember too.
Yes, and as for the other team on the groupers side, they also played this map and they just barely won it. It went into OT and they ended up winning 5-4. So this could go either way. Both teams seem to be pretty competent on this map.
What I think is going to be interesting to see is the style change up that could potentially come with Nyx coming in instead of Obscure on the side of Bap in the Hat. We also don't have Ratwitch coming in, which actually goes to show potentially there's not going to be a pharmacy played here on the side of a Bap in the Hat.
Actually, this looks like a pretty similar comp to that which we were just seeing. We still have the Orisa Junkrat, but Ball is playing Hog this time. Could be interesting. We'll have to see if the Orisa can shut down this Hog enough to. Wow!
Oh,
what a hook!
And the spray. That's a little BM. Not gonna lie. Look at you go, Ball. Trying to just displace as many members on the side of a Bap in the Hat as possible, and is doing a great job, by the way. The DPS are now down, courtesy simply of Ball from the groupers, doing an intense amount of damage. And Hida cleans up the next 2 picks. Is there anything the squad can't do right now?
I don't know, because Ball just pretty much just walked at them and got 2 kills, and they couldn't do anything about it. And then Hida followed up by just finishing everyone else off.
Safin on the Mercy. This is new.
Ooh, are we going with the Mercy Sojourn pocket? I think we are.
This is definitely going to be interesting because this is almost counter of what Safin's style has been for the majority of this tournament, it seems. Yes. Now Safin, is this aggression going to continue to stay? Or is Safin going to play more of a pure support role, so to say, focusing primarily on their healing and keeping the rest of their team members alive rather than doing the damage? Right now, though, don't need to do much of that as Mary 6 is down way too early for groupers to be able to do anything.
Hida ends up getting picked as well. Right now they are bullying this Hog into a corner. Oh, but the Hog gets the last laugh with the Suzu whole Hog and just utterly melts Nyx.
It's a nice position right now that Mega Riolu has on top above this cart, but they are going to be forced to run away just about as quickly as they came into it, with the Reaper Wraith also forced out to try and exit. Hida is just such an issue right now. Hida with the left clicks. Oh my lord, this Cassidy just cannot be taken down.
And this combination of Ball and Hida right now is just utterly tearing this team to pieces. You have to wonder, what kind of solution is the Bap in the Hat gonna need to stop this?
It could potentially be this Valkyrie coming out from Safin. If the sustain is big enough, with the nano boost from Milo, both these support ultimates could get something done. 3 ultimates used though, and nothing really gained. I think ultimately they are going to be able to rear their way back into that fight. But realistically here, at what cost? I guess there's not going to be a ton of ultimates online right now for the groupers anyway, for this next push. But they're going to be coming up on 3 ultimates really at the same time rather fast here.
Yes, they are, and those are three very dangerous ults too.
True.
And Bat in the Hat only has Soldier and ult as of right now. And while that is a game-changing ult, will it be enough? What, Hida has swapped to the Widow.
You know, it's definitely intriguing to see the situations in which Hida likes to pull out the Widow and in which he doesn't. Sapin gets the res off onto one trick to give this backline a little bit more sustainability, but the shot is baited out from Milo. Hida under way too much pressure, and that was the perfect opportunity seized and taken from Bap and that.
Mega Rayolu with, I believe that was 5 picks right there, actually, right at the end. Just team wiped him by himself.
Right now.
That said, Bap in the Hat have no ults as of right now, while the groupers are coming up on 3. So
This was exactly the situation I was worried about, Amp. Leading into the fight coming up before this. This is exactly the situation that you want to be in right now if you are the groupers. And Hida is in such a prime position to rain down damage at such an awkward angle. It's wild with Ball creating so much pressure in the front too. How do you stop this setup?
I don't know. But that's a mix. She got nanoed and is just sitting on this cart. And while he's here, this cart is not going anywhere. So they have to take care of this absolute tank of a tank first.
Yeah, they definitely do. And Nyx will get taken care of. But I want to give a lot of kudos coming out there to Hida. After taking pressure from Milo and understanding that these DPS are going to be aggressive into the Widowmaker, Hida decides to take that fight from an even farther back location that still gives him the exact same sightlines that he had before, with just a much safer position. And as I'm giving kudos to Hida, Hida gets absolutely max range hook, and Nyx takes them out for an ultimately pretty good fight spot for a Bap in the Hat.
And with the swap to Hog, you have to wonder if they're going to stay on the Winston, because I hate to say it, but Hog is just a hard counter to Winston these days.
Absolutely is. But the Primal Rage will batter enough people around that Ball is not going to fall just yet. Only 100 HP. Can he get back to the team? And the answer is no, as both the support and Ball fall. Mary 6 tries to swing it back in with the tire. I don't think it's realistically possible unless Hida can get an extra pick. And as Mary 6 falls, there's not going to be enough damage.
Yeah. I'll have to go next fight. That's it. They are pretty even. Okay, no, actually, that's wrong. The Bap in the Hat just has the super high ultimate advantage right now. As great as Sights is, it's not so much of a game-changing ult as, let's say, Sojourn ult is.
Yeah, it might force them to play a little bit farther back. Ball's actually trying to get something obscenely aggressive done to negate that ult, though. And I really like this play. Coming out from Nyx to contest Hida as much as possible, but Hida still finds the pick on Mega Riolu in that chaos. Insane kudos to the groupers for defending Hida throughout an ultimate that normally shouldn't get them that much value when the tank is pressuring your Widow.
And just like that, they're pretty much even on the ult-to-cat economy now. Both ults, I would argue, are very powerful, and they both have their own strengths. Either could win the fight.
Either definitely could, and the Suzu is out right now for the groupers along with the Kiriko ult. Beat from one trick has constantly been coming out just a little bit later than when the ultimates are used on the opposing team, and it's giving them so much value as Hida ends up falling a victim to the sustain coming out from the supports of Bap in the Hat. Beat coming out from Magic Hijamni right now. Does end up finding a pick onto Sapin with the extra sustain, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think that 2 points is going to be all that they're going to get The groupers are going to end right there, right at that second little mark, as the whole hog boops away ball from the point. It's going to be a wrap-up for Bap in the Hat.
That is round 1. And because they failed to get it all the way, that means OT is no longer an option.
Not having that option available to you is not something that you want to see if you're on the side of Bap in the Hat. But potentially it could give them a little bit of vigor to maybe hold this first point.
This is true, because it's always nice knowing that you have that OT option in your back pocket should you have a blunder on your defense and whatnot. That said, I think that's just going to mean they're going to hold this point even more aggressively than they would have normally. They know they can't let this cart get that far.
I agree. I definitely expect a lot of aggression to start coming out from the side of Bap in the Hat, especially if they're going to keep playing this Reaper here. They're playing Reaper Hog Lucio into this one.
On the other side, we have the Ramatra, which is an interesting pick.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. I wonder exactly what their plan is, because if I'm the groupers, I'm expecting Bap in the Hat to come out with some insane fast comp that's going to try and run you over as quickly as possible so that you can throw it into map 3 insanely fast.
Yes.
But it doesn't look like they've... Oh, they might actually be playing a good counter to that. Look at this. Hegemony is actually on the Lucio. If they play the counter speed, there's potential in this, I think.
Agree. Oh, and
that's
opening
one way to start. Hook comes through, even trades coming through right now. I've never seen somebody die to Ramatra's E in my entire life before.
I don't think I
That
have
is a
either.
first.
It's just so little damage, it's like never happens.
That is an incredibly rare sight to see from Ball. And you know, this is actually such a smart pick now from the groupers the more I think about it. Groupers are playing basically anti-aggression. And they're baiting the aggression out from Bap in the Hat and just getting aggressive into their squishies with the Ramatra.
They seem to be playing like...
Oh!
Oh my man.
Mary 6 on the Junkrat. I have to say, the Junkrat from Mary 6 has been a staple at the Paul for quite some time now. And you can see exactly why. A lot of these tires netting a ton of value from the Groupers DPS player, and now getting that sky shot. What an absolutely nasty play.
6 really is putting on the highlight reel right now, I tell ya. It looks like they're going on a real long flank right now.
PETA has his ultimate to be able to invest and try and keep a Bap in the Hats away from point as long as possible. This nano boost is unfortunately not getting any value here from a Bap in the Hat either. As the sleep came through, that hook's not even going to do anything because the concussion mine came out and separated Nyx away from the hooked target. Mary 6 does end up falling, but the whole hog is keeping the rest of the members off the point. Riolu's getting a lot done.
In comes Annihilation though. Chase down that soldier.
Trying to punch away right now. Mega Riolu will get an exit pick as they're taken out of the fight. So it's still either team's fight right now as Nyx gets to pick onto Az. Even trades coming back and forth, but the tank is down now for the side of Bap in the Hat. This spells a lot of danger for them, especially as one trick falls. It's going to be so difficult to keep the sustain up if it's just sapping on point.
Just like that, I actually thought that the Bap in the Hat had that fight, but the groupers were able to turn that around.
Overclock, Reaper ults, beats, nano boost, I mean, Hog ult is basically here too. This, if there's an attack that's gonna make it, it's going to be this.
Oh, and we have the Nano Sojourn.
The beat doesn't matter at all, actually, as the beat also comes through at the counter beat. You know, I will say though, they had to use every single ultimate to get it, realistically. I maybe would have enjoyed to see the ultimates not layered over the top of one another as frequently as they did, but regardless, they are able to take first point from it, and as long as you're able to stay in the game, that's truly what matters.
I agree. And they were able to hold on to Hog ult there too, which means they have it for this next fight. While the other team doesn't have any ults to speak of right now. They might be able to use that to get out of this initial choke.
Yeah, they could also use it to get the groupers off of this high ground as well. Hog ult, an incredible ult, literally for zoning. People used to troll and say, oh, it's a zoning ult all the time. It's actually a good zoning ult, though. That was a really unfortunate timing, though, for Mary 6. I can't tell if that was a respawn or what, but this is the play that we need to see from Nyx. And the Suzu's a little late.
When we're pushing this Ramatra into a corner.
Will the hook come out to potentially get more damage done? It's not even needed.
Ho
Ball
ho!
falls victim to Milo. And Mary 6 also falls. Bleeding right now. It are the groupers. They need to regroup and come back into this if they're going to get a solid defense still going here. They're just getting snowballed with ultimates right now.
Oh, and they ended up losing the point. It's disappointing. They could. I feel like if they used Annihilation, they probably and rushed in there, they probably could have held it. But the Ramatra just died too fast.
Yeah.
We have Hida back on the Widow.
I wonder what the plan is for the Hida Widow here. I think it's literally just like, can we carry? Hida is trying to get the carry going on right now, especially, I mean, which is strange when you consider it, because they have the ults to be able to consistently still hold at this if you are on the side of the groupers. So I'm hoping that this pick ends up netting them some value. It does seem like Ball, though, going into the backline to cause a distraction will be the opening for Hida to find that pick.
Yes.
Which is great. So this Widowmaker is finding value. Can it find the same consistent value that the other DPS would have been able to provide?
I think there's just been a Reapers just chilling in the backline for like the past 30 seconds.
And the Kiriko gets hooked. Oh no! Hida will find a pick, but oh no.
That could be the decider right there.
A lot of this now, a lot of the groupers wanting to stay into this is going to be on the back of if Hida can stay alive with this pick, but up against the Nano Hog right now. Nyx in the backline, the hook comes through, Hida is taken out. Kitsune Rush on point. 2 picks going into the favor of a Bap in the Hat, but Ball with the Nemesis punching the Kiriko ult just does way too much damage. Annihilation still able to come out as well. This ultimate could get a lot done for the groupers.
Oh yes, oh, but we have Hog ult to push them all off the point.
Not like this. Please, not like this. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Ball has to stay alive realistically if the groupers want a chance at coming back into this, but the supports aren't going to be able to keep them up. Hegemony not going to be able to come back in. I think the groupers are in for it. I think we're about to go 1-1.
I think we are. What a great game again.
And an insanely hard-fought battle there from the groupers. But will fall just a little bit short after getting snowballed by a few ultimates accrued up over time on the side of Bap in the Hat. I honestly really enjoyed the ult usage there that Bap in the Hat was using consistently throughout the entirety of that map.
Yes, the ult usage was just really smart by Bap in the Hat, and I think that was the decider because both of these teams are like pretty much dead even. So it pretty much comes down to little things like those, like alt usage and whatnot. And that's ended up kind of just deciding the match right there.
Incredibly close on that end as well. There were a lot of instances, in particular, where it was just the decision for Bap in the Hat instead of using Ultimate's Infight to bank instead that I thought was so impressive. There are so many teams when they get into those moments of we need to start banking up Ultimate so that we can get a nice economy going and steamroll through the rest of this map, will end up just using all of their ultimates immediately as soon as they get all 5 of them. Bap in the Hat, nope, they're not going to let that happen to them. They instead decide we're going to have plans. We're going to be using our ults specifically in these instances. We're not going to layer each other over with our ultimates, especially in those ladder fights on attack that they did. And it netted them so much value. I will say, though, the groupers got a solid 3.5 minute hold in on that first defense point.
Yes. And they honestly, they almost just won it there. Well, as you said, the trigger patience from Bap in the Hat's players to not use their ults really is impressive, because that's not easy. Having in a situation where if you don't press your ult, you could lose the game. I'm genuinely impressed.
Incredibly impressed. And hopefully we'll be seeing even more of that reserve as we go into our next map, which is going to be Rialto, our escort map. Seemingly for the day. People love this map.
I personally think this is a great map.
I agree. I think there's a lot of different ways you can play this map as well, which nets to it being one of the more popular maps, especially in an escort setting where it can sometimes feel like you're pigeonholed into playing certain comps that require you to have a lot of cart presence. Sometimes this map can really go against the grain, especially when you want to break out something like a pharmacy. So it's probably the best escort map to break something like that out on. Something we've seen Milo done quite a few times.
Yes.
Something I will say, though, it seems like Bap in the Hat were having some interesting issues with trying to figure out who should play Mercy in their last map when they last ran out on that hero.
And speaking of the pharmacy, the question is, do you think the pharmacy is able to beat Hida's Widow?
Yeah, that's a really good question, isn't it? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure about that one, Chief. That's a pretty tall order. Hida is kind of a cracked out monster. I will say though, if there was a map where a Pharah could do it, it would be this map, because the sightlines that you're given for cover is incredible over especially these first few points. But it doesn't look like we're getting that at all. We're actually getting a soldier coming out from Milo, and One Trick still on the Mercy, probably pocketing the soldier.
Probably. We also see the dual Ramattra, which I believe is the first time this series.
Yeah. Definitely is. And Ball's playing this really intriguingly, isn't this? The fight is already taking place along the staircase, but the Junkrat is the high ground.
I don't think I've ever had a team fight in that building before.
The cart pushed past.
Yeah, they already got past the killer choke on this point.
You know, might have to try that one in your comp games, people. That's a pretty smart move, I'm not gonna lie. It actually made sure that Obscure was busy so that they didn't have to, they were so necessary in the front line against the tank on the stairway that they couldn't end up blocking the cart efficiently. Unless you have a DPS member on the side of Bap in the Hat that can contest that cart super easily, or like a Lucio or something, you can't do much. And now Safin's gone. Will get rezzed.
Now they don't have that for later. That's actually huge. Walls are now active.
I can hear the Widow up on this roof right now. Sleep came through! Oh my god, actually get down Mr. President coming out there from Hegemony.
It's about really
Omega Riolu.
Ooh, and both Annihilations end up coming out too. However, Ball goes down immediately.
not the way that you really want that to go. If your tank presence is off of the cart, it's going to be so impossible, really, to try and break in unless you get miracle picks from your Widow, which in this case is getting taken down by your pocketed Ana.
And Soften is just won the 1v1 against the Widow.
Pocketed Ana is definitely not something that I was expecting to see, but the pocket you can definitely expect to see go off on to the Soldier 76 of Milo for this next fight, most likely. This tack visor in tow, blue beam already applied to them, getting ready for this next push. Hida could potentially get something done, but Ball actually opens it up on a very important pick.
Yes. That said, the tack visor ends up coming in clutch here. 2 picks.
Not much to clean up right now, except if your Ball. Oh no. That stagger pick for Bap in the Hat is insanely good. They're not going to get back now until about 45 seconds left on the clock. That's when they're going to start making their engage. This is now last fight territory. Even if you die immediately going into this, all you have is the beat and the tire. So Mary 6 has to make something work here. And it's so hard. Look at the positioning of Bap in the Hat. It's so split.
She'll be lucky to get more than 1 kill with that tire.
Yeah, seriously. It's going out right on the cart. The beat is great! They get the tire!
Heck, it killer with a clutch Kitsune on that tire. Oh, but Mary 6 gets both supports.
Mary 6 trying to put the team on her back right now as Hida gets the pick. They might actually be able to cross through this. What a swap, by the way. I don't think it's something we noted. But Hida silently swapping over to the Tracer when their Widowmaker was not getting the sight lines necessary. And this is exactly what you need to do if you're on the side of the groupers. I adore this pick. Being able to put more pressure on Savin in one trick, who previously would have just been able to get out of the Widow sightlines and be okay, is so detrimental to this comp.
Yes, it's honestly, it's similar to what happened on Musan on downtown. They were just they pretty much did the same thing, and it ended up working and forced them to swap the Tracer.
Now, Kitsune rush with the Hog ultimate on the side of the groupers. It's a pretty textbook combination, but Safin pops their Nano Boost first onto Obscure, with the Nemesis being popped as well. It's just such a good ult combination. The Nano Boost classically onto tanks is crazy. Nemesis is just, combined with it, you can't win against it.
It becomes a 2-shot, I believe, with Nano. 2 punches is a kill. And if you combine that with Annihilations, that could just be even. You can even do it down to 1.
Not even to mention the damage mitigation.
Yeah. And we have a tire coming out right now. Looks like it's chilling on the side, waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah, staying, waiting. A very sneaky angle. It's out of range. There wasn't even a Suzu. It was just out of range. I think Mega Riolu was a little bit scared that the tire would get killed again by Tekka Killer there.
I think you're right.
And instead decided to pop it a little bit earlier. It could be to their detriment, but now Mega Riolu decided to take matters into their own hands. If the tire doesn't work, the left clicks will. And the hook breaks! A potential game-losing hook break there.
If Bap in the Hat have stabilized, this will be last fight. That said, Bap in the Hat have no ults. Actually, neither team has any ult except for Hida with the pulse bomb right now. And Hida just goes down.
Oh, and Mary 6 gets caught in the trap. There's really no way the groupers can actually fight into this. Hida has to land a pulse bomb, and Hida's not there. Yeah, Hida's like still waiting a little bit to try and get back onto point there. It's a great touch though to come through some hedge.
He is now online.
No, it connects with the wall and Mega Riolu! Wall still trying to hold this value though. Mega Riolu attempting to get even more done counterpart taken out of the picture. Nemesis comes through. I don't think Ball is going to be able to do it all by themselves, though, especially with the res coming through and with the Nemesis combined with the Nano. That's going to be it. Bap in the hat. Sealing the deal on that defense.
And
Groupers. Oh boy.
And Annihilation in that situation there, it's like a lose-lose for the other team. You have to go on the point, but you also want to get out of range of Annihilation so that it can wear off. But you can't do that. So it's just a perpetual Annihilation that just goes on forever.
You know, just what an ultimate amp. Like, what an actual freak ultimate. I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe that the ultimate can just stay as long as you physically need it to stay.
Yes, and I have some stories about that ult to speak of. Sometimes when I am playing with my friends, lower ranked friends, we'll play in like lower elos, and it'll be ulting Ramatra against the Narissa, and it's like it's two titans going at it, and neither die. I've seen that ult go on for literal minutes at a time, and it's just like you don't understand what I'm watching. It's like outrageous sometimes.
Lest we forget that one Emon clip where the two Ramatras were ulting and they ulted at each other for like 3 minutes straight, and that's not even an exaggeration. They just held right click the whole time against each other, and you could just do that with this character, which is kind of, honestly, I hope that we see a 3-minute stun lock with two Ramatra ults come up in this next fight. I think that would be insanely fun to cast, but instead, we're going to get more heated domination as Mega Riolu immediately loses his head.
We also have Mary 6 on the Ashe, which I think is the first time we've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, Mary 6 Ashe comes out once every great while on DPU, but definitely more of a Junkrat player. I'm intrigued to see exactly how this works, though. Mary 6 has to be really careful, though, with some of these more aggressive angles.
Yes.
Oh my
what a
god.
Pick.
You know, to us that looked like a lot more normal, I think, than what it actually was, because we could see the outline of the Mercy peek through. Hida does not have that. Hida saw that and immediately got that headshot.
Yes.
Trying to make some space right now is just the groupers to regroup on, potentially get a fight in at this archway, which is the ideal place you want to hold it.
They do end up contesting just barely.
And the sights are out. Hot shots taken from Hida, nothing quite landing yet, but Obscure's punches are going to be landing. This complete evisceration from the Nano combo with the Nemesis form is just too much to handle at all times.
Yes, that's... If you see a Nano to Ramatra running at you, you just, like, there's nothing you can do. He's just too fast and you can't get away.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he just completely sprints at you. And takes no damage either, because you have damage resistance coming in from two different sides there. Obscure and Ball have their ultimates to be able to use in this fight, though. But it's Mega Riolu!
With a 4K tire. And that will just win it. That will win it for them.
Whoa! There is no way. I mean, for some of the insane plays that we've been seeing out of Mary 6 and her tires, Mega Riolu said anything you can do, I can do better, and just stole the show with that ultimate.
That was that clutchest tire I've seen in a long time.
That was wild to see.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this is anybody's game too at this point, I'm gonna be honest. Like, a lot of what has been taking these teams to the next level have been the individual hero plays that have been coming out. We're also not going to go to a break for this next one to try and give our teams as quick of a time as possible to keep going on through these matches. We do have some players that will have to leave at some point, and we want to make sure that everybody can play for the full time that they're available for, especially when we're getting matches like this. We want to make sure that every single moment is held to the highest standard as possible.
Yes.
But what an insane map that we just saw come out there. And something that's been really interesting that we've been seeing, it seems as if Bap in the Hat has slowly started to transition Obscure over to this Ramatra player instead of their primary Orisa player, which is not something that I was expecting to realistically see, because I don't think we've ever seen Obscure on the Ramatra before, even in the groups.
Yeah, I didn't see any, and honestly, it seems to be working quite well for them. So I expect them to do it again. Although it seems like he will be subbed out for this next map. That said, though, I'm curious to see what's going to come out for Esperanza.
Looks like we do have a substitution here. Tekkit Killer is going to be going out, while Azure comes in. Our next map is going to be the push map of Esperanza, which, in my opinion, best push map.
I agree.
And I think also, in the groupers' opinion, the best push map for them, because it gives them so many long sightlines.
Oh yeah, like this map is a hit scan and Widow's dream. Like every point of this map has long sightlines. There's nowhere Widow doesn't work.
True, honestly. Like, you could do it on your... Every single area that you have in this point has some sort of off-angle high ground that you can, and Hida will, abuse most likely in some way, shape, or form. Something I'm a
Yes.
little interested to see though, is if Hida has actually had enough. Does Hida decide to just go over to the Tracer here? Or do the strengths of the groupers comp, do they decide to stick with them?
Ready for battle.
Right now, it's looking like it's a cast lock, which Hida
That.
was popping off on.
And we have Mary 6 on the Torb. I didn't see that one coming.
Now, that one's interesting. That one is particularly interesting.
Typically, you see Torb on the more defensive style, but this is push. Defensive doesn't really apply as much.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this roster from the groupers is going to try and play this as like an anti-tempo.
That's what I'm wondering.
If that makes any sense. Like,
Attempt to slow the other team down a little bit.
yeah, just trying to avoid the groupers, attempting to avoid the Bap in the Hat crew as much as possible. Considering they have this Reaper, they want to play a bit more of a rush style. Look at this is actually so smart. Consistently wrapping around these random angles, taking these hooks. They're not taking direct engages. They're simply just staying back and using the speed boost to keep Bap in the Hat's team away from them.
Yes. Oh, the ball with another pick on Lucio this time. That said,
Pretty
that
crucial pick, especially if you get the hook there onto Nyx. Luckily, Sapin's able to keep their team alive, but this juice from the Moira is going to run out at some point! What a hook, too, from Ball. And there's nothing right now from the side of Bap in the Hat that can realistically stop these hooks from coming through. Sapin's going to do as much damage as they can with this Coalescence. Ball will get taken out. That's such a good pick. This Cole is huge!
let me say, Sapin built that Cole really fast and
Yeah.
pretty much used it to just shred the other team.
Sapin's Moira is definitely not something you want to mess around with, and you know, it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse that one trick ended up falling so early in that fight. It meant that Sapin was able to get a ton of healing done. Had no other opportunity to do less than that. And one trick just dies again, though. That's not really going to give any opportunity for any member of a Bap in the Hat without your speed boost.
And Ball just like keeps getting these great hooks off. Oh, but gets solo tired. Somebody has had enough of Ball.
Yeah, Mega Riolu's had enough of these shenanigans coming out from the tank player on the side of the Groupers. What a shot from Mega Riolu in mid-air as well. That is simply disgusting from the DPS player of Bath in the Hat. But Groupers are still going to be able to keep pushing this cart. And with Deadeye, Hida could even keep this going for a bit longer, but I think they're going to back up. Mary 6 doesn't seem to have gotten the memo though, unfortunately. And as the Kiriko ult comes out, oh, Milo gets squashed! No more Milo on the field.
Right now, it's the battle of hogs going on right now. It's who gets the first hook right now. Well, one of them's on the flank and gets off it.
What an insane hook coming out there from Ball. Able to swing that definitely back into their favor. And a lot of these have been just completely on Ball, by the way, getting opening picks. It's been like so insanely consistent. And a lot of it is thanks to Hedge on this Lucio, who also just got a pick. This squad of Ball, Hedge, and Hida consistently rotating around the map with speed boost, keeping Bath in the Hat on their toes, not able to find a easy place to speed boost into, is keeping them on their toes.
Yes. It's making it very difficult because they always have to keep an eye out on that flank. There's always someone over there. And with that, it looks like taking the lead.
Molten Core is going to try and get something done there from Mary 6, and it does block off an okay segment of the point, at least enough so that Safin can't get as wide of an angle with that Coalescence. And Ball is also able to find that pick there. As soon as that pick comes out, it's actually Bap in the Hat. They want to take that retreat. They do not want to keep fighting this.
They are pushing really far up.
Oh my god, yeah they are, aren't they? They're all the way up there. And the spawning block is the pick! Still, even with Safin over onto the Ana, which is just such a natural counter for the Hog, nothing's happening.
They do end up getting a pick on Mary 6 though, which could sway in their favor. It looks like at some point somebody stole the robot.
Yeah. They are able to get it back, the Groupers, and they have the ultimate to be able to invest into it. Azure. Hida could be very deadly in this ultimate, so there has to be checked from Bap in the Hat. They have the amount of ultimates to be able to do so. And so trade picks come out. The Orisa not able to find anything with Hurl, but it's Mega Riolu's tire that can potentially do so much damage coming around the backside, finding two players! Azure and Hida falling victim to it. The two members that could have potentially swung that fight back into the favor of the Groupers.
Just clean up time. Alright, let's take a look. It looks like we have Nano coming up on Soften, but it looks like the Groupers have 4 ults coming up. It's just huge because the other side only has 1.
Do you see how scared One Trick is playing, by the way? Because of Ball and Hida?
If I would have gotten picked off by a hook 3 fights in a row, I'd be playing scared too.
To be fair, yeah, that makes sense. This is actually so— wait, the sleep! The sleep came through on the Ball, but somebody woke Ball up. That's gonna be unfortunate. I would be screaming right now if I were Safin, because that just meant that Nyx is going to fall. Courtesy of that sleep being woken up. You have to think there, Amp. If that sleep wasn't woken up, this fight, completely different.
Oh yeah, it probably would have swung the other way. Without that sleep, Nyx would not have died, which means they would have... That was just unlucky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed. Have you noticed that they have been shredding, or Ball and Hida together have been shredding the tank when the tank gets hooked? You would hook, headshot, and then finish him off with Hog, and it's actually just devastating.
I guess that's the reason why Nyx feels the need to stay on this Orisa then, right? That would be the most logical situation. That was so good though from Nyx. Nyx was able to eat up basically all of that Molten Core, but the problem is Nyx doesn't have the front line with them.
Yeah, he had to leave his team to do so, which is They ended up dying without him.
The age-old conundrum coming out here from Overwatch 2 seems to be, do I stay with my team and push the front line, or do I take advantage of trying to punish a mistake made by one of the members of the opposing team? And consistently, no matter what choice Nyx makes from Bap in the Hat, Ball is able to clap back and find a solution that completely negates Nyx's decision making. And Nyx gets taken out first right away. The wall. Goodbye.
They got nothing with that nano Death Blossom as well.
The wall walled off Hida, but unfortunately, I think the wall went down right at the last second, where Hida walked over to the side. One trick ended up falling. The whole hog is now in the hands of Ball. Gonna get taken out immediately. I don't think anybody's gonna be able to realistically touch here for much longer. On the point, I think we're about to see a completion of Esperanza on the side of the groupers. I think we're about to see a second map 5 amp.
I think you're right, and I hate to say it, but this was just a total domination by the groupers. This fight,
It
was
really
just
is.
like it seems like Bap in the Hat have no solution, no answers to anything they're doing.
And it's not like they're not trying to come up with the answers either, to be fair.
No, they've been
Like-
swapping, but it's just nothing's working.
Yeah, this original's pretty good though. Oh, but if they would have charged it up for just a tad bit longer, I think both of the DPS on the side of groupers would have actually fallen there. Hida does fall, but it's not realistically going to spell too much doom here for the side of the groupers, regardless if the groupers even end up losing this fight, which I would be impressed of, by the way. They still have so much distance left to gain on the side of Bap in the Hat that I don't think it's realistically possible. And the cap comes through. The groupers taking map 4. We're going into map 5, amp.
Just like that. Wow. Whatever changes the groupers made between maps was very apparent, because that was the first map where it seemed like one team was just decidedly better than the other team.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was an incredible swap that came through from the groupers. And the groupers didn't even seem like they were making too many swaps. The only realistic swaps that came in was Azurev for Tekkit Killer. Other than that, a lot of what they ended up changing was just their play style. And they ended up going to a map that benefited them super well, too, with these long-range hit scans, sight lines. Maybe it doesn't benefit Mary 6 as well, considering that she's definitely more of a Junkrat player in that regard, but Hida and Ball had so much wiggle room to just do whatever they wanted.
Those
The whole
two
time.
those two just dominated the entire game.
We're also just getting in our results from our losers bracket, which I am looking to stream later on. We do have word that third place has gone, in fact, not unfortunately, to Goku, and has went into the direction of Boom Squared. Congratulations to Boom Squared for that third place win. I will be casting that match later on, either in the day today or tomorrow. But regardless, we're going to keep going in to our final map here of the Grand Final Series. It's going to be Oasis.
And this map, this is for all the marbles. Everything they've played for. Right here.
It couldn't be like a more tense moment, Amp.
No, it couldn't. Like, every game has been close. Every control point has gone to 3 rounds. This map right here, this is going to be good.
Now, what do we think Bap in the Hat is going to come out with? We saw Obscure come in, so Obscure is in for Nyx this time. I see Obscure on this Ramatra pick. I definitely see that happening. It would make so much sense for Obscure to come in on this Ramatra. Has been playing super well on it for the tournament. It seems like a Bap in the Hat have had a lot of success specifically against the groupers with Obscure on the Ramatra.
2, 1.
It looks like the groupers are coming out with the exact same comp they were just playing. It makes sense.
I mean, it was probably their best.
Yeah, they dominated with that comp, so why fix something that's not broken?
Exactly. And with ball over onto this hog again, it could spell disaster here for Bap in the Hat if they don't find a way to contain these two players from the side of the groupers actually getting distracted because of how insane that hook break was. That could have completely turned the tide of the fight if Obscure ended up getting hooked there early on into that fight. But Obscure keeping his distance as two members from the side of Bap in the Hat get taken out.
Well, I'm seeing the it looks like they're just getting what's happening is ball keeps going on the flank and Ramacha's like, well, do I deal with him or do I deal with everyone else? And it's like it's a really hard question to answer because the Hog's gonna get a pick if he's over there, but if you don't deal with the other four, then they're gonna get picks. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, and the Hog gets so much value too because there's nobody running Ana. Even if there was an Ana player that was playing right now on the side of Bap in the Hat, Tekkit Killer would be able to theoretically cleanse out everything that's coming out. Obscure actually decides to go over to the Orisa because of it. Seeing potentially if the gold and the Eats can get a little bit more value for it, but it's Hito with the Deadeye that's going to most likely be able to zone back players of Bap in the Hat as the tire comes out from Mega Riolu, keeping even more players of the groupers at bay, and Tekkit Killer falls.
Mega Riolu dies in the process though. We're even now.
The Javelin!
Wow, what a Javelin.
Obscure, a heads-up play there, also takes down Mary 6. But Ball is getting too much done. It's a battle of which tank can do more. And as of right now, the Hog is tearing up this lobby.
Yeah, this is disgusting what I'm watching up by Ball. This is... there's nothing they can do.
Yeah,
Oh, what a sleep. This
not that much.
he javelins him backwards. Yes, this one.
Obscure!
What
But
a-
nothing happens!
My-
Oh my god, the supports of the groupers are just insane. Now Ball dies.
does end up
I actually
dying.
can't believe that.
That's huge.
Obscure's trying to break in onto this point too. Many picks going into the side of Bap in the Hat. And through an insane struggle there, somehow Bap in the Hat comes out on top.
And I would argue it was. I think Ball overextended a little bit there.
I think so.
He just took too much damage and ended up dying. And without your Hog, well, there's not much the other team still has a tank. You're just gonna get run over.
Importantly too, the groupers had to use all of their cooldowns just to keep Ball alive for that split-second moment
It didn't even
that they
work
were not
at the end.
anticipating. Yeah, and it didn't work in the end. So they just got completely overrun after all their cooldowns were gone. Really nice though that the May wall is out from Milo, but the rotations from Bap in the Hat are so smart. They are not letting the groupers get anywhere near them to try and get a good angle for this Blizzard.
And they're all playing super cautious against this Hog now.
Yeah. It's exactly what you need to do. Sapping over on the Ana 2 might actually get pounced on. Oh, it
Then
was
Nano to
poor
Orisa comes
timing.
up.
Could potentially get a few picks. I think Mary 6 is going to fall victim to that pretty soon here. It's Mega Riolu with the tack visor from the low ropes. Also spraying out a ton of damage. This point is going to stay in possession of a Bap in the Hat, but at a hefty cost.
Yes, they used 4 ults. The other team has used none. They have all 5 coming up.
Ooh.
That is all. They only have a Orisa ult now, which means this either has to be the biggest Orisa ult like ever, or like. Oh, but they do split off this Hog.
The wall! The wall's so good. If Ball can actually... Oh, I think that the Kiriko cleansed it. The beat from Hedge as well saves the rest of the members. It's a great position from Hito. One trick gets taken out. It's too many ults here, and
Yeah,
there's too many.
There's not much they can do there. Just kind of what
Obscure
happens when
couldn't
you
even
over
use it.
ult like that.
Yeah, it's in those moments too where maybe if you're Obscure and you see Ball get hooked, like separated from that area from the wall, you honestly might just take your ultimate and use it right there
Ready for battle.
to try and
Honestly-
displace that hog more and get that pick.
I think the only thing they could do in that last fight situation there is I think they had to like legitimately if they like push spawn doors, they might have been able to hold them there.
Good
Just
point,
long-
actually.
If they did that, they might have been able to stall them long enough that they would have not been able to touch the point. I think that was their only play.
5.
Yeah, they could have gotten pushed back pretty far from all of the ultimates that got popped, but theoretically, if Obscure would have pushed up there, maybe played around the corner, baited out a couple of ultimates just to get groupers out of spawn, they easily could have been taking that fight, which goes 99-99, by the way. So now Bap in the Hat on their tournament life. Whoa!
Oh, Mega Killer just assassinates that Pharah.
It was like a right click with 2 Kiriko right clicks to the dome. Just ending them
look.
right there. That's gonna be an incredibly early fight, by the way. Like, incredibly early.
Yes.
So, intriguingly enough, Milo has decided that the Pharah is something that they want to run here. They see Hida, I think, though, on the Cassidy, immediately want to switch off to it
Yep.
and go
They're
onto the Sojourn. But do we think that the Mercy is going to be able to get them as much value here? The Mercy Moira, especially, as the Kiriko Lucio?
Oh, when you think about it, the most dangerous part of the other team is this hog, and that's a one-shot. So you don't need as much healing as you might think, I suppose. Because if you,
And go ahead.
yeah, because it like they're not taking a whole lot of like sustained damage. It's very one-shotty bursty, so you don't need like an Ana as much. The Moira might just be enough, and like it ended up working.
Yeah, that extra amount of damage that they had really ended up helping them a lot in this fight. I'm a little bit concerned because they don't have too clear of an answer to the hog. The only thing that can realistically get this hog out is the damage boosted Sojourn, but the Blizzard does come out. Oh, right at the tip of it, but ball doesn't end up falling because the Blizzard goes away just in the nick of time to save the tank hero from the groupers. Obscura now has to try and play this weird frontline battle in a situation where there's no cooldowns online for the tank player, immediately erased from existence, as this sim has a lot of charge.
Oh, but Soften gets 2 picks. They are holding on to this point somehow. What is going on? It's like Hog left the point and
It's a 2v2 right now on point with Seven and Mega Riolu just carried. They actually just 2v5.
that
The
was
whole point.
somehow. Wow. Okay, I'm impressed. I don't even know. I don't know how they did that, but they held on to this point by themselves.
I'm in a state of shock after that one, Amp. I can't believe that Safin and Mega Riolu were just able to, with some well-placed walls and great positioning from Safin, completely win and isolate their 1v1s perfectly. It's a great Orisa ult too! It pulls everybody into Safin's coalescence!
That might be the round. I don't think they can touch.
I don't think so either. Only 8% left until it's done with the DPS
Lucio might,
Moira
unless they get to
coming out in chat.
Oh wow, they just stopped them.
Just getting started.
Wow.
A taste of poison.
I mean, that
something.
that is an insane play right there from Safin. And guess what, Amp? We're doing it again. Again.
We are on
Both of the
map
maps.
3.
Both maps that have been streamed are map 5 round 3s. It doesn't get any better than this.
This is insane. Such a good map.
Greetings. Take the objective.
It
Now-
looks like they are going to be using the same strategy on both sides, actually.
Oh, but Hita's over on the sim. Are they
That's
keeping
tricky.
Hita on sim? Are they?
Nah. There's no way,
Wait,
right? Wow,
Wait,
they are.
Oh my god,
Interesting.
no way. So they're keeping Hida on Sim, Mary 6 over onto the Junkrat. This is completely new. We have not seen this look from them yet. Hida has not gone over to the Sim.
Whoa.
Hida is such a good hit scan character that usually they've been putting him over on cast to see how much carry potential they could do with it. Now opting in for the consistent damage of the Symmetra. So much damage is being output into them too.
Yes.
But they're alive. And he gets the pick!
Somehow nobody has died yet. Wow.
I'll be honest, I think the wall there from Mega Riolu might have trolled them a little bit. I think the wall that was placed there from Mega Riolu, while it was intended to split a member, Ball specifically, of the groupers off, Ball actually ended up slipping out and the wall stayed up. And the entirety of the groupers just ended up using it as cover. There was no way for Milo to get any sight lines to see the groupers past that main wall. What the hook?
Ball opens up with a pick on the main.
That was such a max range hook as well. It cost them kind of an arm and a leg to do it in terms of ultimates. But one trick popping out the Valkyrie is not the worst trade in the world for them in this case. What is going to be difficult is the fact that they have to go up against 3 of the best ults in the game right now.
Yeah. They only have Beat. They'll have Whole Hog soon. But that's competing against Blizzard, Overclock, and Co. And we saw how devastating those ults were last round.
Exactly. If Safin can get into position with this Coalescence, it could be devastating. The beat is great, though, from the side of the groupers. Unfortunately, Mary 6 can't be saved. The Blizzard's going to come out in response, and it's Hida. There's a microwave cooking on the grouper side. You can hear it buzzing and buzzing away. The members of Bap in the Hat, one by one. And this sim swap is so unorthodox, but it is just working so well in the favor of the groupers. How do you push past this choke point?
I don't know. Like, I actually don't have a solution. And this is last fight here. They have to do something. They only have one ult.
They have a sim wall too to split off the members. Up Bap in the Hat immediately goes down Obscurus to try and get something done with his Elisa ult.
Huge. It's a 5-man ult. Actually,
Mega Riolu!
oh, they see
don't touch!
They C9'd. Oh no!
Oh my god! What?
That is
That's how it ends? The tournament ends with the C9?
They would have won that fight too. They had that fight. They had that fight won.
The grand finals with 2 teams. Map 5, round 3. Mega Riolu gets 2 picks. And the C9
And it looked like the
comes
Orisa was
through.
like, the Orisa was right there, but he had to have been like 3 pixels off.
Had to have been. No, literally had to, I think it was like an inch away from touching the point. An actual inch.
Like, wow. That I cannot believe that's how it ended.
Congratulations to the groupers for
Yes.
putting on an insane display of talent throughout the entirety of the tournament. Just to give you a sense, by the way, of how much people have had to play today, the vast majority of these maps have been going all the way.
Yes.
Like, all the way. I'm pretty sure over half of the maps have gone the max amount of maps in the series for this tournament, which just goes to show you incredibly balanced teams, incredible high-octane gameplay coming out from every player, and everybody is truly trying their best. It's what you love to see.
Like, let's remind everyone, these matches started around 1. It has been going for nearly 6 consecutive hours for some of these teams. That's a lot of Overwatch. Like, I don't know if I could do that.
I couldn't. There's no way I could play 6 hours of Overwatch. All right. That is going to do it for our stream today. We're going to come back at a different time, and I will be streaming those losers finals. But we've been here for a really, really long time today, unexpectedly doing the stream. So we are going to end it pretty soon here. I do want to go ahead, throw it over to you though. Amp, do you have any shout outs, any last words that you would like to say before we wrap up our broadcast today?
Well, I'd like to shout out to everybody who balanced these teams because these were some great matches. And then I don't know, I'll shout out Tech Killer because I think he deserves a shout out. When doesn't Tech Killer deserve a shout out in my mind? But other than that,
Definite.
everybody played a great match. Everybody played great on every team. So I hope we can do this again sometime in the future.
I hope so too, and I hope to have you casting at my side again when we do it, Amp. Same with you, Silent Juan. I want to give some shout outs as well to Mazemel on production, Charybdis and Mazemel for helping balance the teams out and create this incredibly close tournament. I want to thank the Silent Juan for being a co-caster as well on this stream. And of course, I want to thank all of you for coming out here today and watching us, and all of the players who took place in the tournament today. Don't worry, especially Goku, your time will come to shine. I will be getting to your match on stream. I'm going to try and do that tomorrow, if at all possible. So you'll have that to look forward to tomorrow as well. I want to give everybody their time in the spotlight. But if that's it for us today, I want to give a big GG's to everybody who played today and everybody in the chat. And I hope that you all take care. Have a safe and good night, everyone.
Yes, good night.